I can swim. Just can't walk or dress myself. Take it easy. Take it easy.
All's my life I has to fight, nigga. All's my life hard times like, yeah. Bad trips like, yeah. Nazareth, I'm fucked up, homie, you fucked up. But if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even boom with the bass down. Scheming, and let me tell you about my life. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. With pretty pussy and Benjamin is the highlight. I tell my mama I love her, but this what I like, Lord knows. 20 of them in my Chevy, tell them all to come and get me. Reaping everything I sow, so my karma come in heaven. No preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a motherfucking gangster in silence for the record. Tell the world I knew it's right.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
What you want? You a house, you a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, anything. See, my name is Lucy, I'm your dog. Motherfucker, you can live at the mall. I can see the evil, I can tell it, I know it's illegal. I don't think about it, I deposit every other zero. Thinking of my partner, put the candy, painting on a Rico. Digging in my pocket, in a profit, big enough to feed you. Every day my logic, get another dollar just to keep you in the presence of your Chico. I don't talk about it, be about it. Every day I see cool. If I got it, then you know you got it. Heaven, I can reach you. Pet dog, my dog, that's all. Big bag and shed, I trap the bag for y'all. I rap, I to show my rights, my wrongs, I right till I'm right. We been hurt, been down, nigga. When our pride was like, where do we go? And we hate poor, head in the street for sure. Nigga, I'm at the preacher's door. My knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
I keep my head up high, I cross my heart and hope to die. Love me is complicated, too afraid of my changes. I'm alright in your favor, dark nights in my place.
Salute, and welcome back to the Black Ocean. Now, so I'm getting deep in with your host and one and only Great Black Shark. Oh yes, family. I know y'all was probably wondering when I was gonna do this particular broadcast. We rearranged it to cover other topics, but I know you didn't think I was gonna let this slide because, oh boy, this is gonna be a very interesting diagnosis and analysis over here tonight regarding two reject minds of white supremacy. One is a tether wench, as you might coin the term, or a tether bedwench, which will be the one Candace the Coonstress Owens. Okay, shout out to the brother Torian Ray for the Coonstress term. First brother I heard that actually labeled her that, and it fits quite, it fits quite well. Okay, if you know anything about Candace Owens. And then we have Nicholas J. Fuentes, okay, the white Hispanic wannabe white supremacist that they won't quite let into the club because, he was almost white, but, he got that little taco tinge to his bloodline. He's half Hispanic, half Italian. And then, you have some of the more hardcore white supremacists. They're like, nah, Italian ain't white. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, he is disgruntled and perturbed. And, if you really kind of listen to this guy, we're going to get into it here tonight. You're going to see some very telling things, which is exactly why I have what I have in the title and the thumbnail, because let me tell you how something, ladies and gentlemen. Fruity Fuentes, as I call it, that's my nickname for him. I've often told you, and I don't care whether this is the white supremacist males, to the class males, or even foundational Black American freedmen males that fit into this incel category. These are some very angry and very dangerous bastards online, okay? See, oh boy, look, if y'all want breakdowns of that, over on Patreon is where you can find it when it comes to, the difference between the white manosphere and the Black manosphere, and the common denominator that they all have is really being incels. I mean, they'll try to say it's about other issues. And to the brothers in the Black manosphere, there's a handful of creators that actually are talking about a lot more than just what's going on with women. But again, that is a handful. It's not the greater majority of the space. That's one of the problems with that space. Now, when you look at the white manosphere, okay, that would be your names like your Rollo Tomases, your Tom Lycuses, okay? Let's see. Trying to think, couple of clowns, the white guys that's over there. Trying to remember the guy that started that 21 convention. Okay, and look, they have all kind of little infighting in between each other over there. But then you have the Black flunkies. You got your Myron Gaines, of course, that tries to stay a satellite to that particular sector. Then you have, your Donovan Sharps, etc. So, it's a couple of names that, they'll hover around that sector. But see, the white guys over there, they're like, look, you niggas ain't running nothing over here. Okay. And, for any of the clowns that think they were, all you have to do is look back at how disrespectful a lot of them were, including Tom Lycus and others, Rollo Tomasi and others, when Kevin Samuels died, okay? And see, for the longest, we've been trying to tell a lot of these knuckleheads, whether they foundational Black American freedmen and Sambos or the tether class Sambos. When you go and hop into these little spaces, you think, okay, we've all got problems with women, let's unite. And I'm like, no, the white man or the white woman's problem with either gender in their community ain't got nothing to do with your Black ass. Because at the end of the day, you still Black, they're still white. Like I said, a lot of them have to learn the hard way. Many of them have. You've seen it when people like Tommy Sotomayor, which is where a lot of the Black manosphere guys kind of got their offshoot from. Then you go beyond him. You got people like Sergeant Willie Pete. And then, names like David Carroll, and we gonna get into that on Patreon. Oh, so if you subscribe over there, it's a lot coming up over there. Yeah. If you confused about any of the stuff I'm talking about, you won't be after that broadcast coming up in about a day or so on Patreon. All right. So, like I said, a lot of clowns have to learn the hard way, and then a lot of them now, since things have kind of died down over there, the manosphere spaces, they try to bleed over into our spaces. I already mentioned the platforms that they're all flocking to now. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care who like it, don't like it. You can't rehabilitate that, okay? Once that mindset gets so far gone where you're looking at either gender, and I'm talking about divestment dummies and a lot of these incel manosphere clowns, you can't rehabilitate that mindset where you're looking at one gender in black society as, oh, these people are all evil, whether it's the men or the women. That's a mental poison that we try to make sure we don't have over here. And this is why I don't tolerate that bullshit on my platform. Sure, we can address issues in the community between men and women, but there's a responsible way to do it in good faith. Okay. So I'm one of the people that, I try to keep my platform centered around that, which brings me back to Fruity Fuentes. Okay. Fruity Fuentes is in a situation where hardcore white supremacist circles, but they ain't having that. Okay. Especially now in this time period where due to their declining numbers, they are really sensitive about a greater majority of things. I'm talking about many of us, not just myself, predicted their behavior a long time ago as far as how it was going to become more extreme the lower their numbers get. If you see how they're acting in the media with certain things, I mean, even the most ridiculous of things serve a purpose for them. Case in point, this Sydney Sweeney thing, all right? Most black people didn't know who the hell they were. If you ask any black person from state to state, from one end of this country to the other, have you heard of Sydney Sweeney? If most foundational black Americans be like, who? Now, the tellers know. I'm going to tell you why the tellers know, because they idolize and worship everything white and they try to work to fit in. This is why they practice those Valley Girl inflations for the women and some of their dudes, especially the moist ones, okay? But most of us, we're like, man, we ain't really, locked into what white folks call culture like that. We not, care what you got going on. And they always trying to figure out what we got going on. We're the trendsetters. We don't care about nothing what the people got going on. So, like I said, a lot of that erratic crap that you're going to see is going to be more of it, because this is their swan song, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying that to be, cruel or anything, but hey, they put themselves in this situation. One thing about your brother, I do not feel sorry for people that put themselves into these predicaments, because, when you segregate yourself into these little white enclaves, and they still hadn't learned nothing. So they got all these high IQs, and I'm going to have some content coming up on that whites only time. A lot of y'all been asking me about that. I'm going to deal with it. When you segregate yourself into your little whites only enclaves, which I don't really care about, just stay away from my people, don't do my people no harm. And if you a silly bed book or a bedwench, you go running your asses over there, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about that. As far as like the black drivers going over to them types of towns, simple solution, okay? Just have them make arrangements to either go pick up their packages, or they can set up something outside of the perimeter of their little place and people just dump their package over there and keep it moving. For the most part, white folks, we don't give a fuck about y'all going off in your little areas, because, see, I'm going to tell you why I encourage it. The lessons that you haven't learned about that is most of you have an incest problem. Yes, you do, okay? There's a documentary that you can look up called The Whitakers, okay? Look that documentary up about that. It's a whole family full of hillbillies. You can't make this up. Whole family full of redneck hillbillies, brothers, sisters, just getting it on and reproducing with each other. Oh, boy. See, they don't understand that, you talk about genetic defects and mental disorders. So, hey, you know what I say? Got that cousin living going on. That's right. Cousin living. That's what they known for. So you can take that degeneracy over there. Unfortunately, some of our people have tried to follow in their footsteps. That's the extreme fringe few of us. Thank God for that. But hey, that's what they want to do. Fine, knock yourself out. So I encourage you. Hey, as long as they don't harm any of us or anything, hey man, let them huddle off into their own little enclaves, whatever they want to build out in the sticks somewhere. Let them have it, man. Let them have it. Because, see, Nicholas J. Fuentes, you won't be invited. You don't fit the criteria of what, man. See, look, I'm going to tell you something, right? Before we get on into this. One of the things you got to understand about the hardcore white supremacist extremists, they ain't counting like, the United States government counts all these white adjacent classes, your Asians, your white Hispanics, East Indians, Arabs. They're like, nope. If you not European on both sides of your family, see that look, hey, they do that blood quantum thing. They're like, nah, yeah, that's cute for that little census bullshit. But if we trying to have all white, so-called pure white children, all these little side, adjacent groups that skin color look like us, nah, that ain't gonna cut it, buddy. But see, Nicholas, he's furious and frustrated about that, so he tries to take that on black society. Now, for tonight, he's gonna be going back and forth with Candace Owens about certain things. And see, the sad thing about a Candace Owens, a tether wench, and any foundational Black American freedom bedwench that goes as far as she goes with it, they don't understand that just because you land up with them folks, and this goes for the bed bugs as well, just because you land up with them folks, it does not mean that they're going to accept you, okay? You just something for them to get their thrill off on, and then, hey, once that wear thin, they either gonna leave you high and dry, or in the worst case scenario, they get rid of you, okay? You know, but they don't get that. They think that, you know, sexual access, I've made it to the promised land. Like, no, you dumbass. you hadn't made it nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You're an idiot. You're a tool. And at best, you know what I'm saying? You might be something that they find, you know, pleasure in, an object of affection temporarily, but you're not going to ever supersede what they are to their people, which are white supremacists, okay? White supremacy comes before all things to them. And those of us with sense know that, okay? So that's going to be the tone of the broadcast here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Now, with that said, give your brother a black fist or a thumbs up if you can hear me loud and clear in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. And if not, we shall get that adjusted. But while I'm waiting on that, let me make sure that I greet those of you who join us over here tonight. Let me scroll up. I see, let's see, what's this name here? DSMS Sinester, okay? Salute to you. Okay, Charlie X, what's going on? Derek Parker, Reparations Nation, Tanisha Murdoch, Only Pamela's Wave, my brother Dad Miller TV, Emmanuel Briggs, what's going on? My good sister Mrs. L, Project Leroy in the building, Kenny T is in here. I see Diesel Mike, my brother James is in here. King Hazy is in here. Let's see. David M. Thornton, saluting and welcome to all of you and anybody else. All right. So, looks like everybody can hear me loud and clear. And before we get started, I want to say something else too, because let me tell y'all something about these cowardly white supremacists. I was talking to a sister earlier, and she informed me that, you know, she has a young one that's doing positive content, and she's in, you know, Gen Z. And you know what, the demonically cowardly white supremacists, you know, they don't really come at those of us that are Gen Xers and older millennials like that. They want to try to pick on our younger ones, because this is what demonic cowards do. So, you know, the younger sisters, you know what I'm saying, like the Gen Z group, they're mostly going to be on kind of Instagram, TikTok, things like that, Twitch, some. So what I'm going to start doing, and I'm going to have some conversations with some brothers and sisters a little bit later on in the week here. We're going to try to make sure that any of our young ones that are trying to do positive content to educate each other, because see, it's one thing if an older person like me does it, but it's very important for the younger people to do this amongst each other with what they find. And we, as the older people, if they have any questions or they need answers on things, we give them the information that we know, and then they can go and present that to their own. Because see, sometimes that comes across better, whether it's they use certain terminology or slang, or whether they see each other teaching about something and they feel like they relate more. See, because what matters is getting the message across. And see, these cowardly white supremacists, they want to intimidate our young ones like that. And you know what the white supremacists male, they are the most cowardly things on the planet. They love to target their own women, especially our younger women, okay? So I was informed about one of these particular white supremacists. We got something for his ass. Oh, yes, trust me. We got something for him, because, see, one of the things we're going to make sure that people understand over here is that our young ones, they got backup from the older community. It ain't going to be like in the old days where the boomers didn't give a fuck about the younger generation. No, it's a brand new Black First Day over here. So, you know, we're going to be creating more spaces for the younger ones to connect with each other, because I know a couple of on-code younger sisters and brothers that, you know, we can link them up in spaces where if they need backup from their peer group, they got it. And we definitely ain't nothing but a call away. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that cowardly white supremacist, man, boy, y'all just wait. When I bring that Children of the Chalk series back, I know I've been talking about it, but I'm working on something with that. Well, when I bring it back, oh, they thought they was crying before. Like I said, y'all can find the older episodes on Patreon. It's over there. But when I bring this back to the main platform, ooh, boy, y'all know me. What do I always tell y'all? One of the worst things in the world you could do is get my attention and get me focused on you. Okay, so, you know, just know, white supremacists, we see you. We got something for you, because, you know, you get the crime when we actually start doing things back to you. And see, it ain't even got to be on no hatred or nothing. No, we're going to educate and teach and give our young ones all the tools they need to neutralize your BS and see you for what you are. Because, see, that's what they really hate. And if there's any young Black, foundational Black American freedmen person listening to me or tonight, or a non-LBA person, and you trying to put out things to educate people or for the empowerment of other melanated Black folks, let me tell you something, man. The main thing that they do, they don't show you unless they see you being effective. Because, see, you got to understand that when they see something that's going to be a particular problem for the system of white supremacy, they're like, oh, no. So you got to understand that trolling that they try to do with a lot of us, that's desperation, man. The smartest white supremacists are silent. They're the ones that are over here listening right now. Hello, yes, we know you're here. They're the ones that listen in silent and never type a comment. They're listening. It's like, what are the blacks talking about? Those are the smart ones across the entire system, government, etc. All right. The goofballs or the grunts, those are the ones that they send to run interference. They come over there trolling, hoping to get a rise out of people, try to get them upset. But see, I'm going to tell you something, particularly to the sisters. This is what I love about, our lineage. When you study those like the brilliant, iconic ancestor, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, I've told y'all many a times, for the sisters, man, that debate where she schooled and embarrassed that white supremacist buffoon, William Shockley, that is a masterclass on how sisters should do it. She wasn't emotional. She wasn't upset. She was like, oh, no, I got you. Like, let me let you keep talking. And as soon as you finish your BS, let me go ahead and chop all of that down with logic and facts. And man, I'm going to tell you that is brilliant. And then, like I said, for the brothers, we definitely recommend studying the work of Dr. John Henry Clark, not just for sake of, saying I know this or I know that. I tell people all the time, the importance of studying history is so that we understand how it correlates to present day. And it's a roadmap to navigating the future too, okay? And when you combine like history with present day knowledge that we have, because see, this is the beauty about, having a body of work from our elders and icons to study. They were wise ahead of their years in their time. And since they've transitioned on, there's been many things that have occurred that we can say, oh, okay, this is the other piece to the puzzle that they didn't have at that particular time. Do you understand how powerful a body of wisdom you have when you combine past history with present day knowledge and then you use it for the empowerment of your people? Let me tell you something. That's what they don't like. And that's when they get to trolling. So don't worry, white supremacists. We got something for you. You keep messing with our young ones over here in these spaces. And you don't like attention when you get it, because we're going to give you what you need. Trust me. So, just know there's going to be some things coming here. And I'm always been the type of person where if I see that there's a void for something, I don't wait on other people to create it. I'll do it myself. So just expect that coming up. In fact, the business, I'm going to see if the next X space that I hold, I can get some of the younger brothers and sisters to join that particular space. And you know what I'm saying? Kind of discuss that topic about, how Gen Z views the system of racism and white supremacy. Okay. Because we got to start creating these dialogues so that we can understand the thought process amongst the different generations. And that's how we refine what we're going to do as far as combating it, because this is a golden hour opportunity for our people, family. It's a golden hour opportunity. We've never been on more on code as a lineage than we are right now. I know I haven't seen any other time in my lifetime. So we're going to definitely make that count. Now, with that said, family, we're going to get into analyzing this situation here tonight, because let me tell you something. We're going to give a reminder of people to who Nick Fuentes is. A salute to the good brother Latavia Lawson for the cash out. Thank you very much, my good man. We're going to give a quick reminder to people of who Nicholas J. Fuentes is. And for those that don't know, full disclosure, because I want all y'all to be very familiar with these white supremacists, welcome to the new subscribers. Some of you may not know who he is. He's the founder of that online troll Groyper group, okay? Now, if you don't know what the Groypers are, they're white supremacists, of course. But those are the ones that popularized using that Pepe the Frog meme as a white supremacist symbol. That's them guys. And by the way, remember, I'm one of the few people that called out the tethers for actually using that Pepe the Frog meme, that especially the continental African tethers. I don't care who get a bug in their ass about me calling that out. That's the truth. You can see it for yourself. They still do it. Now, some may do it out of ignorance, but at this point, all of them do know where that comes from, because what they live to do is assimilate into white supremacist culture. Okay, this is why they have all them little terms for this, like Akata, Jair, Abid, and all of those other terms. Okay, they try to assimilate into white supremacist culture and show them that they're on the team. The funny thing about this is, though, you ain't on the team, because see, the orange man, the orange tornado, he's showing you that, yeah, when it comes to these deportations, we're going to get your black asses first, even though it ain't as many of you over here, you know what I'm saying, as the, you know, white Hispanics and others. But they start with the niggers first. Just ask the Haitians about that under Joe Biden, when he rounded all of them up, okay? Nonetheless, we're going to get started analyzing this, and I'm going to be stopping this where need be. So we're going to give you a brief introduction to who Nick Fuentes is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it.
All of the culture war propaganda, it's bait. It's all fake. You know, I'm watching videos by Daniel Schmidt and John Doyle. I'm watching videos by young white guys who think that our country is being run by black bureaucrats. Young white radicals who have been screwed out of a future. Their future has been mortgaged. They have been sold into debt slavery. There is no hope. You are a minority in your country. This is a country financed by debt. No one is deflating this global debt bubble. We are all going to pay the cost. And they have been tricked by billionaires into taking out their anger at black people. And it is true that black people are responsible for the criminality. It is true that Hispanics make up the bulk of the illegal immigrants. But they are not the planners and the managers of our society. And yet, young white radicals, all of their righteous indignation and anger is being channeled and directed at Democrats. It's being directed at bureaucrats in the federal government.
Now, let me pause Fruity Fuentes right here. And boy, I know it's comical to look at this goofball, but you know, this is a very dangerous white supremacist, and he's a young one. Take note of that as well, because a lot of times when we talk about white supremacy, a lot of people tend to just relegate that to the older ones. Nicholas Fuentes is a younger white man. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say he's probably in his early to mid 30s, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Now, a couple of things he was saying here. All right. One, you know, he definitely believes in, you know, oh, the blacks are responsible for the criminality. And I'm like, listen, man, there is no race on the planet that is ever going to catch up to more criminality than the white supremacists. OK, that's just not going to happen. They hold the world record for genocide. All right. We ain't catching up to that no time soon. All right. There's crime amongst all groups here. But see, remember what I told you about arrogance being a weakness and not a strength? This is one of the cancers of white supremacy. They believe their own lies, all right? And see, it's necessary for them to keep that up and perpetuate that, because you have to teach the next generation, hey, this is what you need to believe to uphold this system. And like Neely Fuller Jr. said, if they don't understand the rules of racism or white supremacy by the time they get in 15, there's a penalty for that. They get punished amongst society when they do that, okay? So now, the other thing you heard him say, now this is the important part. You heard him say, it's true that most of the Hispanics are the majority of the illegals in this country. See, let me tell you why that's important, why he said that. He's suffering from an identity crisis and self-hate, all right? Because he doesn't see himself as really Hispanic. He thinks he's more Italian than Hispanic. You better understand that when a lot of us, because I'm not the first person to have said this, when a lot of us tell you that a lot of these jokers like him, the Nick Fuentes that come from these dual backgrounds, what have you, and especially if there's a white parent and the other parent is melanated or something else, yep, Doja Cat, we're talking about you. Man, don't you know that they hate that other parent? See, you got to link this way on back to when we were telling y'all about the East African slave trader Tipu Tib, okay? Arab father, African mother. He hated his mother's people. One of the biggest slave traders on the East Coast of Africa, okay? So you got to understand that when you see that same mindset right here, they hate that other parent because they're like, damn it, if it wasn't for you, I was almost white. So you will hear a Nicholas J. Fuentes speak as if he's not part Hispanic himself. And see, he doesn't understand. This is what his frustration is. No matter how much he talks the anti-black rhetoric, waves that white supremacist flag around in his mind, he's never going to be looked at as a thought leader in their community amongst serious people. Sure, the trolls love him because, you know, he's anti-black. Of course, they love him. But see, at the end of the day, let me tell you the killing thing about a Nick Fuentes to him, okay? He knows that when he looks in the mirror, all right? He knows that when he looks in the mirror and he's by himself, he knows that, damn it, they're never going to accept me no matter what I do. We're going to prove that here tonight because I'm showing you this for a reason. When we get into this part here where he's going back and forth with Candace Owens, oh, boy, that's going to be a hell of an education about what happens when you have two anti-black reject minds competing with each other to see who's going to be the preferred one amongst them when the answer is neither one of them. But they tell us they have these high IQs, right? Let's let it continue.
Everything is being channeled as an attack against DEI, as an attack against some such policy like that. Don't look at the billionaires that are funding this. Don't look too closely at Musk and Thiel and Andreessen and Adelson. Don't look at those people. It's the black and brown bodies in the Department of Education. They're the problem. What? And by the way, you are a token. Hey.
Okay, so now you heard that first rant, all right? So now it's important to listen to their concerns. I don't care whether it's a Nicholas Fuentes, etc. Not for the point or purpose of trying to debate them, because this is what they believe. You're not going to change their minds. So this is why I define debating them pointless. So you listen to them to see from their own mouth what their so-called grievances are. Because see, you hear these reports and these talks about, oh, white men are unhappy. The young white male feels unhappy and unwanted and oppressed. And when you listen to what they're saying, these are the sentiments. And see, he hears that and he starts repeating that stuff, thinking that it's going to gain him some type of respect in their community. And they're like, listen, man, we'll call you when we want some entertainment, but you're not going to be anybody's go-to thought leader. You know what I'm saying? It just ain't going to happen. So, you know, no matter how he tries to do his hair, ridiculous. I mean, I'm not a white man, but goddamn it, that's a ridiculous ass hairstyle. Then no matter how he tries to, you know, present himself, and, you know, he's one of those people that he goes by this logic. It's the Jews. Or he loves that. It's the Jews stuff. All right. Never anybody else but the Jews. He thinks that if he latches on to all the white supremacist rhetoric, that maybe, just maybe, one day they'll accept him in. Now, here's why that type of mentality is dangerous. A lot of us have told y'all that the most dangerous gang member, you know, it's not the one that's already in the group. No, it's the one that's trying to get initiated. Oh, yes. And that's where he would qualify with his extremism. All right. And I applaud him coming out like this, because I'm going to say it yet again on this broadcast. A lot of people will hear the Nick J. Fuentes is running off at the mouth and with all their little anti-black rhetoric. I'm like, no, you don't censor him. No, you don't. See, for me, I heard a lot of people, and some surprised me about this. Oh, my God, I hate what they're able to say on X. So I'm like, I've been waiting on this. This is what I always wanted to see. Let it rip. Our people need to see exactly what these people would say without restraints, because now you are forced to understand that, hey, look, this is what these people really think. See, it's more advantageous when you have an open assessment from your enemy on what they truly think about you versus them hiding. And then you have to deal with little microaggressions and you have to guess and wonder where this person stands. Oh, no, I hope X stays the same. That's one thing I'll give that punk ass Elon Musk credit for. Like Elondra, as we like to call him, Elondra Trump, you know, he wanted to be, leave it the same. I wish all the platforms were like that. Because the more places that they're able to just come out and say what it is, two things going to happen in Black America. You're going to be forced to deal with, yes, racism is still here right in front of your face. And number two, you're going to be forced, when you see a problem and it's right in front of you, now what are we going to do about it as far as getting on code, you know what I'm saying, and dealing with white supremacy in whatever way we choose to, okay? That's what I love about where we're at with this. So I never want the Nick Fuentes type censored. I do not let them talk. They need to be able to speak. So see, I'm going to let this part play right here because, again, before we get to the Candace Owens situation, This is the part where you remember he was going at Jason Fatlock, aka Jason Whitlock, okay, Mr. Bacon Bit Sweating, boy looking around, running around looking like a damn hippo. Boy, Jason Whitlock, man. If you know what, before I finish that thought, to see, you know, as these things come to me, I have to share this with my audience. Family, can you imagine? And I'm thinking about doing this with AI now that it just popped in my head. Can you imagine Roland Martin and Jason Whitlock in like a sumo wrestling match, and the winner gets like a big ass bowl of chicken wings or some shit like that? Can you imagine that? I know these things just pop into my head. Now you see why people have to tell me, like, brother, don't put that out. But I'm thinking about doing it because, boy, I have discovered some very interesting things you can do with some of this AI stuff. Oh my God. Y'all just don't understand the pettiness that I'll be wanting to unleash on this platform. But I like, yeah. I'm just saying though, imagine them two bastards, them buffet masters, fighting over a big ass bowl of chicken wings. It's a big old sumo. So, you know, if this just happens to make its way on the internet, well, you know, I might or might not have had something to do with it. I'm just saying, I digress. Anyway, what I'm saying here with old Fruity Fuentes, you're going to hear what his grievances is with people like the Jason Whitlocks and the Candace Owens, okay? Because see, a lot of them, the melanated tether class, they think, okay, if I just repeat the white supremacist rhetoric and I go over here, if they accept me in on their platforms as a tool, I'm going to be in the end club. It never works out that way. And what I like to show people, it's one thing when black people say it over here in New Black Media Spaces. Nah, don't believe us. No. I want you to hear it straight from their mouths. Let's let this play here.
Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't, because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
Now, let me pause right here because you see why he's angry? See, first of all, he realizes that the Candace Owens and the Jason Whitlocks are tools. He's correct on that. But what he's incorrect on, you know, he thinks being black is a privilege because they get the Sambo and Coon and be used as tools by white supremacists so they can say, see, I didn't say that. Jason Whitlock said it. Candace Owens said it. No, that doesn't mean that they have any privileges, black people, because they can't go in a courtroom and get the Kyle Rittenhouse treatment, you know, $1 million worth of whiteness. They can't go and murder anybody on the street and get away with it like Daniel Penny. They can't do that. So no, they don't have any privilege, sir. Definitely not on the level of white folks, okay? But see, let me tell you something. Thing about Nicholas Fuentes here, all right, with what he's talking about, you know what really gets him? What gets him is, okay, you heard him say that there's a limit on what he can say. Actually, there isn't. There's a limit on his extremism because, see, you got to understand something. He would be considered the poor white trash of white supremacy, and I'm going to tell you why, all right? All that extreme rhetoric and all that going overboard is the Jews and all this stuff. The higher tier white supremacists that actually do have some power that run this nation in government, all right, in the corporations, they're like, oh no, you a lightning rod. No, you gonna come in here with all this over the top anti-black racism. Like, nah, that could hurt our bottom line. And even more so, they're like, listen, white supremacy is supposed to be a covert tool. You're too damn loud. So they look at him as a liability and a loose cannon. That's what he's upset about. See, he doesn't have the sense enough to understand. I'm just going to throw it out here because it's not anything that he's going to be able to grasp or catch to do because he's not capable of it. If Nick Fuentes changed his presentation and he actually went back and studied Lee Atwater, the Southern Strategy, for example, and he codified more of what he was saying, presented himself with a more polished look, and, you know, I doubt this would ever happen, but actually got himself together and attracted some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman by his side. And, you know, he would be considered more credible. But see, he's not able to do that. And see, you know, this is something that must be studied amongst us as black people because, see, you need to understand the mindset behind white supremacy and their conflicting ideologies in the system of white supremacy. Are they all on code with anti-black racism? Sure they are, but they differ in the ideologies of how they try to go about it. Case in point, if you look at someone like Jared Taylor, or if you look at someone like Richard Spencer, okay? Two white supremacists from different generations that have different methodologies and ideologies about how to implement white supremacy in the future, but they're all still on the same white supremacist code. And see, where this benefits us at, when we study them and understand how they think, we're better able to protect ourselves against that system, and more importantly, pass that information on to the younger generations so that they understand, look, this is what you're up against, okay? So we're going to let him get more off his chest here, and then we're going to get straight into this interview where he was going back and forth with our favorite tether wench, Candace the Coonstress Owens.
Everybody knows, and everybody's sick of it, especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy. It is, and I don't doubt that he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's genuine. But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be fucking gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good fucking thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer. You would have been fired like every other white person. Everybody knows that. Take a good look at everything around you, because you did not compete to get that. You got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility. And if you can't see that, then you're just as ignorant as BLM. If you can't see that, if you can't be honest with yourself about that, you're just as ignorant as the marchers. As a matter of fact, you are as ignorant as the marchers. Just another ignorant crybaby. And you know what? I have no hatred. I really don't. I'm a little bit frustrated with the fact that people are going to challenge my credibility based on what I say, knowing what I've sacrificed, what has happened to me, what has happened to my family. And I'm not trying to play the world's smallest violin, but my sacrifice has been considerable. I have had a considerably more difficult go than almost anybody, because I was willing to tell the truth before it's fashionable about Israel, about race, about globalization, about a wide variety of subjects. Ever since I was 18 years old, I have been censored. I have been financially blacklisted, had to endure financial hardship. I've been targeted. My family's been targeted. So for somebody to come and challenge.
And see, let me stop this whining crybaby, this, little tainted, half alabaster, half taco, crybaby here. He's talking about, because I remember when he started out when he was a teenager and he had all that going on and got himself kicked out of college and stuff like that. That's the path that you chose. And see, this is the thing about white supremacists that are actually about the business of executing that system to precision and perfection as much as they possibly can. The reason why you won't be accepted in that system, Nick, is because you're crying about the choices that you made, okay? You chose to live that life. You up here whining about things like that. I don't care what group of men you dealing with. No man respects that. Whatever decisions we make, we live with those decisions, okay? You whining about that you chose to do all that. Nobody told you to go out here and do all this extreme anti-black racism and all this other nonsense that you did. Look, see, here's how you know people like him don't have a high IQ. Because they always tell us about how high that IQ is. When you are so committed to your extremism that you take a severe blow, not enough to completely knock you down, but it staggers you. Instead of you stepping back and saying, okay, you know what? Let me regroup. Let me see how I can go about this a different way. Do I need to delegate this to someone else? Do I need to refine my language or what I'm going about doing this? When you don't have sense enough to step back and analyze that, when it starts to cost you financially to the point that people are freezing your bank accounts, etc., don't tell me you have no high IQ. Okay, don't tell me you have an high IQ. And see, this is why other white supremacists can't use you, Because, see, you will be a liability to any functioning system or plan that they come up with because you're too stupid to understand that, hey, no matter how much you hate these blacks or the Jews, we need money to fund our endeavors. This is why you're not being accepted amongst them. But see, everything that I just said, Nick Fuentes and those like him are too stupid to understand that. I'm going to give you the inverse of Nick Fuentes, okay? Little biracial wannabe white supremacist, Andrew Tate. Yeah, I'm finna hurt some feelings. I'm going here. I've already broken him down on several broadcasts on this channel. Andrew Tate is a very wealthy man. But just like I told y'all, just because you have wealth doesn't mean you have wisdom. He has very little common sense, he and his brother, okay? The reason why Andrew Tate will be a liability with all that wealth is because he operates from the same mental faculties as Nick Fuentes. You got a loud mouth. You don't know when to shut the fuck up. People gonna see you coming long before they can actually get anything done. And see, white supremacy operates off of covert action. That's how they get most of their stuff done. All right, on their end of it. Now, the other end of it, like I pointed out in the last broadcast, will be using tools of extension as buffer classes. That's where you get your white adjacent groups that are not really classified as white, that are not white, but are classified as white here, like Nick Fuentes, some of your Asians, East Indians, Arabs, Hispanics, and the melanated tether class, which acts as a buffer group while you got people ranting and raving, talking about who's being distracted and we shouldn't say this, we shouldn't say that. The tether class is an extension arm of white supremacy, and you cannot get to white supremacy unless you move the goddamn buffer class out the way, okay? So that's for the short bush crowd that doesn't understand that, all right? So now when you're looking at Nick Fuentes here, I've just given you some of the main reasons why he would be a liability to any actual functioning high-powered white supremacist or body, okay? See, if he walked into any think tank where the upper echelon of them were discussing their plans for the future, he would be useless. Fact of business, I would posit to you this. They probably wouldn't let him walk out of there in good health depending on what he heard. I'm just saying, because look, the upper echelon, they take that seriously. They're not that deep. See, we make jokes at them about these dwindling numbers. Oh, you got to think about how it would be on the other end of that. They're like, man, we going to be in museum exhibits. We going extinct. So they're not bullshitting about implementing their white supremacy. But see, he doesn't understand that. And then, too, this is why they don't really look at him as one of them. Not just because he's half Hispanic, because his mind isn't mature enough. I know I'm using the term mature in the sense of white supremacy to understand how it actually operates for the long term. Let it continue.
My credibility, or whether I'm being honest, it's totally outrageous. I have no hatred in my heart for people. I have no hatred in my heart for anybody, for that matter, and not for a group based on their race. And I have friends from all different races. It's not hatred. You know, we can't play that card all the time and bitch about racism every single time. With that being said, and it's important to clarify that because you don't want to be typecast as the angry white man that's trying to gin up. I'm not trying to gin up racial resentment. I'm really not. I'm trying to tell you how white people feel. And I'm trying to tell you the truth. And here's the truth of the matter. White people are just fucking done. We're done with the excuses. We're done with the white guilt. We are done with crybaby, ethnic narcissist black people that cannot handle an adult conversation about race. We're done. We pay up the ass in property taxes not to live near these people. We work hard. We pay our taxes. We go to work. We work our fingers to the bone to create a good quality of life for ourselves and for our families. And it has been ceaselessly sabotaged for decades by these fucking animals. And by that, I don't mean every black person. I mean these predators. I mean these opportunists. I mean these adolescents. Where are the parents? Where's the community now? Where are they? I'm talking about these young adolescent men, black men, that film themselves running over a physics professor on his bike in New Mexico, laughing and kill him. I'm talking.
And see, this right here that he's referencing, talking about young black adolescents that were filming themselves running down this professor. You remember that got debunked, right? It came to find out that there was not a black person, and it wasn't even a tether class person. These were white Hispanic kids, okay? And see, that's the thing about white supremacy. They'll put out half truths and then try to run with that as if it is the truth. This is why, like I said, I've told y'all this many times, like my grandfather always told us, do not trust them if they pink, thin, earthworm lips are moving, they lying. But see, you know, they don't care about lying, hence why they can never be true Christians, because they look at all things as weapons and systems and tools that can be used in white supremacist warfare. And a lie is a very powerful tool if you get a lie told to a group of stupid people that don't have critical thinking skills and that are blinded by white supremacist indoctrination. They're like, oh, this is a useful tool. We don't care about no lying. And boy, it's hilarious. He's talking about all this hard working that they do. Boy, you talking about a hell of an oxymoron right there, boy. When the hell have these people ever worked hard? This is the funny thing about it. If they were really so hard working, there would have been no chattel slavery in America. You would have got out here, did all this hard work by yourself. Okay, but we all know that history like the starving time. You don't like to talk about that, and many others where it shows historically by words of your own people. So you can't say black people did anything. You can't pull that pseudoscience crap. Your own people documented their hardships and their incompetence early on. Okay, so when you know your history, you like these are the people that people actually think that we're supposed to idolize and look up to. From historically in times, you know, from the founding of this country up until present day, they have shown their incompetence over and over. Because see, think about this. All this high IQ, okay? And like a brother said in the chat room or sister, people that actually have a high IQ don't actually run around telling you that. It's self-evident. If you're intelligent, it's self-evident by the way you react to things in life, your problem-solving ability. You know, people will often look at, you know, the expanse of your vocabulary, you know, your thought process as a whole, okay? That becomes renowned far and wide without you having to tell people that you're intelligent. So anytime you hear anybody doing that all the time, nah, that's some insecurity. They're trying to convince you, you know what I'm saying, that they actually are something they're not, all right? Because they don't believe that themselves, all right? So now when you look at Nick Fuentes and all his ranting and raving that he's got going on, what he's missing is this. No matter how much you get up here and recite all this crap, which not based in any reality, is fabricated, you don't realize that none of you are ever going to be able to solve your problems, because while you constantly looking at the black people, and by his own words, remember, he said they pay all these high taxes not to live around us. Well, how the fuck will we be your problem if we're nowhere around you? You see how stupid white supremacy is? See, if I was a white man today, man, I would get the group of white people that really care about our issues, and I'll be like, hey, listen, man, all that it's the blacks, it's the Jews, cut that bullshit out. We got to look at what we got going on. This is what we fucking up at. We got a fentanyl problem, okay? We got to look at what's the reason why women don't want to have our babies. I would be looking internally. I'd be like, no, we really want to be the people we say we're going to be. We got to get busy solving problems. And you can't do that based off fucking lies. In order to solve a problem, you got to get down to what the truth is, identify where the problems are, and start coming up with solutions, okay? Got to start coming up with solutions. So this is why, this is going to shock y'all. I'm going to say it yet again. This is why I applaud Eric Orwell, okay? Yes, Eric Orwell, the guy that's founding the whites-only community. Hey, man, bravo. My hat is off to you. Hey, man, go do your thing. At least he's a white man trying to come up with solutions to so-called white problems. Nick, you could learn something from him, but you know, hey, that I'm not a white man. That's about as much of my thought process as I'm going to give them. So they ain't getting no more of that from me for free. Let's let it continue.
Talking about the young black men that break into 20 businesses in Downers Grove overnight and loot the cash registers. I'm talking about the teen takeovers, the gangbangers. We don't want to live near this stuff anymore. And we all know what's going on. We all know who's doing it. We all know what it is. And we're sick and tired of black people not being able to be honest about it, not being able to take any responsibility. It's always someone else's fault. It's always some white person's fault. It's racism, it's poverty, it's the culture, it's the New Deal, the Great Society, it's Lyndon Johnson, it's the Democrats. You know what? No, I think it's you. I think it's just you.
Okay, so now he says he thinks it's just us. It's just us. Now, again, we all know the insanity and demonic incompetence of white supremacy. If you're gonna in one breath say that you pay all these taxes not to live around us, how in the hell would black people be your problem? Name one predominantly white place, city, town, state, wherever, where black people are just running amok in all these white areas. Okay, where's that place at? Because see, most black people understand that if you're stupid enough to try that, it's gonna be some swift justice. You might not even make it to a court date. You know, they shoot us 60 times for just suspecting us of anything. So this horde of black people that's just plaguing white folks in his mind. But see, when you're insane like that, like most white supremacists are, and you need a scapegoat, see, let's really get into this, okay? I want you to look at this snake on the screen, okay? Because y'all know I often show you this snake when I'm referencing demonic white supremacists. Understand that the reason why the white supremacist male has to make up all these things is because they don't have actual solutions to their problem. And this is the killing part for the Nick Fuentes and the other pure-blooded so-called white supremacists. This is what really hurts you. Now, you don't have to worry about brothers like myself because I am not attracted to your women. I look at what they've cost my people historically, and I look at what they're costing our people in present day, and I look at the risk is not worth it, okay? Not to mention, this might offend some people, not to mention that I don't want to go through a genetic downgrade. Your people are recessive gene. Mine's are my people are dominant gene. I don't want to degrade my genes by procreating with none of you. So you don't have to worry about me coming after your women. But see now, for the brothers out there that do like their women, this is the problem that the white supremacist male has. I don't care what race of woman on the planet you're dealing with, women gravitate towards problem solvers and actual traditional masculinity. Even in this climate here where you got a lot of the feminine knuckleheads running around, they're not stupid enough, especially by the time they get to a certain age, to say, hey, wait a minute. Things are getting hard out here. I can't make it. This is beyond what I'm comfortable with as a woman. Let me go to where the men have some actual solutions at. And unfortunately for you white supremacist males, a lot of your women are looking at the brothers. And whether you like that or not, that's the truth. See, you can lie to yourself all day long if that's what you choose to do. But you're never going to get to solving any problems when you do that. And, you know, like I said, to the young brothers out there that deal with their women, be careful. Be careful. Because, see, the one thing about that, even if that's what you genuinely like, you got to start looking at the situations like Shannon Sharp and others that have gotten themselves into these predicaments, okay? You got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth being with a woman where all she got to do is feel a certain way with her entire system behind her, get upset about something, tell a lie on you and ruin your entire life or cost you your life? See, that's where my default mind is. I don't care what kind of shape a white woman has. I damn sure ain't impressed with none of that bullshit where they be running around acting like, what's the name? What's some of them? The Bad Babies and the Woe Vickies and all of them with all that fake black scent shit. Man, get that shit the fuck away from me. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Before we get into this Candace Owens thing here, what I see when I look at their women, the only thing I see is a Grim Reaper. Okay, that's what I see. Yeah, I've told you, if you want to destroy something on this planet, that's the one thing they are good for above all else to me. If you want to learn how to destroy some shit, leave it to a white woman, okay? I'm pissed off when at that. Oh, boy, take notes. If you want to learn how to destroy some shit, leave it to them. Because that's what they do. That fact of business, that's one of the problems that their men are having with them. And see, that's yet another reason why I can't go over to the alabaster side. It's not even about pandering to or placating our women. It just doesn't make logical sense. Why the fuck do I want their women when they don't even want them? Huh? Well, you talk about some destruction. Look at what they do to their men, boy. Hey, boy. Nah, I'm cool. You can have them bitches all to yourself, as far as I'm concerned. Speaking for me. So now that I've shown you what Nicholas J. Fuentes' thought process is here, we're going to jump straight into this diatribe that you had with Candace Coonstress Owens. But it's going to be hilarious, y'all. Hold on to your hats. Let's get into it.
So you don't think that there's group differences on average between the races?
I think, just to be clear, I think there would be group differences if you took, like we were talking about, an American versus somebody who graduates college in Europe. There'd be tremendous differences.
Not tremendous, but there would be slight differences,
yeah.
but you don't
So
think
I
that
think
racially there's differences between races?
I think Yeah, because we have huge differences culturally. So going to your point of saying, I don't want to live in a black neighborhood, well, neither does LeBron James when he gets money, right?
Right.
And there's a reason for that
Mhm.
because there is something that's happening culturally in Black America that's been going on for a very long time. But that thing, I would argue, didn't exist in.
What about in Africa and Haiti? I mean, they're killing and eating each other in Africa and Haiti. Everywhere where they are, you have these problems.
Yeah, I'd like to look into, and I'm pleading ignorant, but I've heard some things about what happened in Haiti and what the Clinton Foundation did there. So I think I'd have to.
Now, see, I'm going to tell you what I find fascinating about this exchange between these two knuckleheads right here, okay? Candace, if you listen to her tone and what she's talking about, this is where you are most pathetic. Oh, boy, I'm going to let you know right now before I say this, it's going to offend a lot of people. If it applies to you, you're going to know who you are. This tether wenchery right here, she's sitting up here while this white man, okay, white Hispanic man, is insulting her because, see, what she and others don't understand that when Nick Fuentes talks in that manner, he's not saying except the Caribbeans, except the Africans. He's like, no, bitch, no, I'm talking about your goofy ass too. Regardless of your white husband finding you something to fetishize and play around with and have kids with, he's like, no, your black ass too. That's what he's not saying it in that language, but you gonna see in his tone, and you can judge for yourself whether you think that I'm reaching with that or not. We let this continue. And see, and their ignorance, this is what the tether class does. They'll have racism and white supremacy right in front of their faces, but they'll deny that, okay, nah, this isn't me because I don't fit this particular standard that I think, you know what I'm saying, that they're against. Oh, this isn't me. Look, when y'all hear me talk about, when you hear particularly these tether wenches trying to speak in a Caucasian voice inflection, okay, because that's forced. If you didn't grow up in a white household, okay, if your mother wasn't white, you don't grow up speaking with a Valley Girl voice. I don't give a damn who you are, especially if you're somebody that's an African or Caribbean person. That is not, even if you go to school outside of your house with them people, that's something you would have to adopt. That's not your natural voice, intonation, and inflection, okay? So a lot of people think you're just splitting hairs when you say that, but it's very important because it's indicative of somebody that's trying to run away from who they naturally are, all right? I've told y'all many times, and I've seen this personally over the years myself. You go to African nations right now today, and I'm not somebody that just spent a week or two over there so I can give you anecdotal information from people that I'm cool with, which I'm cool with a lot of continental African brothers and sisters and Caribbean. But if you go over there and spend significant time in any of their nations, they can tell you more about white people country songs than they can traditional R&B amongst foundational Black Americans. I know y'all probably think that's crazy. I can show you video footage and evidence of everything I'm saying, okay? I'm telling you. So you see, in Candace's mind, you got to understand where she is right now mentally. I want you to look at her face while she's talking to her, all right? They call them coconuts. You dark skin on the outside, white on the inside. In her mind, she is gone. And when I say gone, I'm going to tell you why. She's achieved what most tethers want to do, whether they the tether wenches or the tether bucks. Once they get themselves a white spouse, you can't tell them shit. They are locked in. You cannot rehabilitate this. There's no working together with it. There's nothing you can do with it, okay? They gone at that point. The whole conversation, she's going to be sitting here talking as if, well, he's not talking about me. He's talking about them. You can see it in the way she's looking. Take a good look at this woman's face, man. And see, look, again, the reason why you have women that are like Candace Owens from these other demographics here, the other class, is because their men have failed them as a collective, okay? As a collective, they failed them. Unfortunately, when you, look, let me just go ahead and be blunt about it. Y'all know I put out any information about this over the years. When you see a group of men bowing to their oppressors, literally in some cases, verbally expressing that their oppressors are superior to them. Y'all know the YouTube short I showed y'all where I got that Tupac playing in the background. Wonder why they call you bitch, where that African tether is over there in South Africa walking by them white folks, praising them and just sucking up and kissing ass. That's so goddamn embarrassing. When your women see that, and I'm not talking about a one-off, when they see collectives of men doing that, they're like, okay, if you gonna submit to him verbally, if he can come over here in our country where we outnumber this motherfucker 20-1, and you can just let him beat on you with a couple of sticks, and you sit there like a punk ass and take it, when he can come here and we outnumber him 20-1, and they can go and set up businesses in our country and tell us where we can't go, and you don't have no smoke for that, well, shit, this must be the better man. I'm not a woman. I'm just using common sense. Most women, if they see their group of men doing that, they're going to be like, okay, I can't respect you because you won't protect me. And you bowing down to this man saying he's superior, so I might as well get with him. Look, you can like it or not. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. So this is where Candace Owens is now in her mind, which is why for the people that's talking about, well, she's still a sister in the community. You damn dumbass. For anybody that thinks that you ain't finna rehabilitate this, what the fuck you gonna do with Candace Owens? She has secured a white man, you know, and done had little biracial kids from it. You ain't finna tell this motherfucker nothing. Same would go for her counterpart, Tetherbucks, okay? Once they get with Becky, lock in, have some kids, oh man, ain't nothing you finna do with that at all. Now, if you wanna be the dummy to go out there and risk that, working with them, think you can trust them, be my guest. The rest of us with common sense will not be joining you, okay? So now, with Nick Fuentes here, notice how, and this is the funny part, he's talking to this Caribbean mammy, just tell them, okay? And he's bringing up black people in the continent of Africa and Haiti and all of that. And you notice they try to do this with us, and we're like, no, wait a minute. No disrespect to our continental African brothers and sisters or our Caribbean brothers and sisters, but you talking about them. You address us, you talking about foundational Black American freedmen. Whatever's going on in the Caribbean and the African nations ain't got a damn thing to do with us until they bring their culture over here. And then they get classified as Black Americans, which is why that term alone is problematic, along with the term African American. This is why we say foundational Black American freedmen for the new people over here, okay? We make clear distinction with delineation over here. Because, see, when they commit little goofy crimes and shit, they lump us all, oh, we all black now. No. Just like when you do something you proud of, you going to delineate too. Take your trash back over there. You ain't going to be, nope. You are Caribbean. You are continental African, wherever country you come from. Nope. Go ahead and delineate with all of it. Okay? Because, see, for far too long, and look, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to get to that point of delineation too, where we get this across the board with them crime stats too. Because, see, when you start, and you know, everybody with sense knows that crime stats really are only talking about the arrest. It's not really talking about the convictions, okay, of which most Black Americans are the highest exonerated for things that we didn't do. But I guarantee you, we're going to get to the point where we delineate with them crime stats as well. Like, when you put this down, make sure you put where this motherfucker come from. And I'll take it a step further, because, see, you know, the tether class, they be thinking they slick and they think they're going to get around it. I'll be like, nope. Even if you was a naturalized citizen or you was an anchor baby, nope. Put where these people originally from, or they won't like that shit. Boy, you think they hot about delineation now? Just wait till we get to that point. And we gonna get there too. Trust me, we have people working on that as we speak over here on the Black grassroots. But see, you know, according to certain people, they think some people just talk. No, we to show you we show you better than we can get tell you over here. That's how we do it. That's what we are. We to show you better than we can tell you people over here. Doubt it. Look at this conversation on the national stage about reparations. Many of us have worked tirelessly to get to this point. Okay? And if we were just talking, it definitely wouldn't be a conversation where the mainstream media is talking about reparations. You got all these people that never did want to breathe the word. They talking about it left and right now because we're all on code. But see, you know, I digress. The people that don't have sense to see that, I'm going to leave them where they are. I want y'all to pick back up on the rest of this conversation, though, because, see, study the exchange between the two of them. Make no mistake about what you're seeing. This conversation was not held for either one of them to have a good faith discussion. No. This conversation was held as an audition to the greater majority of the white supremacists say, see, I'm more valuable than her. I'm more valuable than him. That's what this is, okay? See, I look at things with a different lens. And I'm going to prove that here tonight. Let's let it continue.
To look more into the history of Haiti to be able to push back on that at all. I don't think I agree with that.
What about all of Africa then? There's not one country in sub-Saharan Africa that's successful. Not one. They're all least developed countries. They're all failed states.
This kind of reminds me, and we could kind of flesh out this conversation together, and I'm not perhaps ready to have it fully, but I do remember going back to Dave Smith where he was conceding a point on, well, all of these other Middle Eastern countries, no, you wouldn't want to live there. You'd want to live in Israel. In my mind, I'm
Now, see, let me show you something about why Candace Owens is nowhere near as intelligent as people try to make her out to be. Because, you know, you got a lot of these soundbows. Ooh, she said some good thoughts. You made a good point. Candace Owens is intelligent. You know, you got a lot of sambo class that is just, boy, they worship the ground she walk on as long as she talking bad about black people, huh? Let me show you how smart she's not. When Nick Fuentes brought up well, you know, there's not one successful sub-Saharan African country. First of all, that's a lie. That's a lie. There are functioning African nations over there. Are they doing as well as they should be? No. But they're not destitute like you see from back in like the 70s and 80s where there's nothing but a bunch of villages. I don't even, look, any of my own people that out here say that stupid shit. As somebody that's been over to their nations, I checked them. I was like, no. That sound cool, but I've been over there. No. They have very modern areas in every one of their countries over there. The problem is, this is the problem that Candace Owens is not educated enough to rebuttal Nick Fuentes on. The problem is African nations have puppet leaders, the greater majority, with the exception of a handful. They have puppet leaders that are controlled by Western powers to keep those nations in destitute states. Back to business. Case in point again, just in case there's new subscribers over here or there's people not familiar with this, don't believe what I say. I'm going to give you verification of what I'm talking about. We're going to put foreignassistance.gov back in here again. For those that are not familiar with what that is the website that shows you in real time where all American taxpayer dollars are going overseas as so-called foreign aid, foreign assistance. That is puppet bribe money. Because if you go to most of these nations, the people of these nations, the citizens, they'll tell you that, hey, man, all this aid that you heard we got, etc., we don't see any of that. You know why? Because those puppet bribe puppets there, they put that in their back pockets. They look out for them and them only. They don't use any of that. They'll use a small percentage to maybe create some infrastructure, do something, but the greater majority of it, they pocket that. Okay? The regular people don't see that. So now, when you have that going on, and you have those nations looking the way they do, as far as like you go to some African nations and they have what's called load shedding, where the power, you pay the power bill, it's not going to stay on because the grid has not been developed to the point where it can handle that. Yet it's ironic that in the white areas, they don't really have them issues and problems like that. Not to the degree that the black areas do in most of those African nations that experience that, okay? I digress. You have to go there to see what I'm talking about. Now, she's not giving him any rebuttal on the puppet bribes that these puppets are given to keep these countries in these destitute states with the white supremacists controlling the strings from afar. Not going to make that argument. You know why? Because her entire existence has been, okay, let me parrot what I hear white people saying. One of the most embarrassing things I saw where this was proven with her, when she had that interview with Donald Trump and he thought one way about the vaccine, and he showed her right in front of her face that it was the opposite. And she was looking rich. Boy, I almost said that word. I'll be trying not to say that word, but she was looking very mentally challenged in that interview. Okay, and it was hilarious. So you see, she's not really intelligent beyond just parroting a bunch of white supremacist talking points. Okay, that's it. Same can be said for Nick Fuentes as well. So, you know, that's what she's missing there. And see, with Nick Fuentes, this sub-Saharan Africa talk. Oh, boy, they love that sub-Saharan Africa term. Sub-Saharan Africa. I'm like, first of all, if you read Confessions of an Economic Hitman, you understand how those nations got that way. You understand what was done once they gave them their independence on paper. A lot of them only agreed to that. The British colonies that, you know, colonized them. Some of the French, because you see right now with Ibrahim Traoré, that's why he had to go ahead and take power into his own hands to get the French the fuck up out of there. That's how you do it when you got majority numbers in the military. You kick these motherfuckers out your nation. So again, I get it. A lot of people, you know, take issue with how he's going about doing it. I respect the brother's efforts because, hey, it's better for him to try than not. I mean, it ain't going to be perfect. You got to start somewhere. So I hope the brother is successful with his endeavors. Now, with Nick J. Fuentes, He's not going to acknowledge anything that I just said about how those nations got that way, why they stay that way to this day. Okay. He's not going to tell you about how, okay, if you don't cooperate with what a lot of these British colonies, their former British colonizers tell them to do, they can put sanctions on them. He ain't going to tell you about none of that. For example, Zimbabwe. These people took their country back from the British that didn't belong there, and similar to Haiti, you gonna put sanctions on them for taking their own shit back? Can you imagine that? We just got to break this down in simple terms for any young person that hears this. Imagine a damn thief taking something from you and then telling you it's a tax on you if you get your stuff back, huh? That is insane, but that is what they're dealing with today, okay? That's exactly what a lot of these African nations are dealing with today. And see, this is why we tell the class that runs over here, don't comment on anything we got going on when you got them problems going on back home. Do y'all know that there's over 19 different nations that are part of the British Commonwealth today? We're talking about the African and Caribbean nations that have their independence on paper, but they're still a part of the British Commonwealth. How the hell you gonna call yourself independent when you still want to be under your colonizer's crown? But see, this is the reason why many of them, Candace Owens talking to you, your people, were crying when that accursed queen died. Let's let it continue.
Going, because you just keep bombing the crap out of them if they ever try to get ahead. I remember watching this clip of him saying that, going, why don't these countries get ahead? And kind of going back in my mind to the Gaddafi speech where he was speaking essentially about, here's what we got to do in Libya to get ahead. Here's what we're going to do with the dollar, and we're going to be progressive and this and that. And they killed him. And then what happened to those Libyan refugees? Suddenly they're now pouring into, just like he said was going to happen, that they were now pouring into the European continent, and Europeans are complaining, who are these people? And so the question is, are we allowing, because I'm like, Africa's a pretty rich country. Like, why aren't Africans controlling the diamond trade? Who's taking all of the diamonds so that they can't control the diamond trade? And how long have these people been doing that, being essentially culture vultures? That's kind of the journey that I've been on now in terms of really trying to go back and look into history to see what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I never trust myself when I have a perspective now, because I realize how much of my opinions and beliefs were shaped by the public school system.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Oh, no, I ain't gonna let you get away with that, Candace. No, your beliefs were not just shaped by the public school system. Your beliefs were shaped by white supremacists that you worship, which is the case for most tellers. Okay? Now, in a roundabout way, I guess you could say that that's what she meant there, but she ain't gonna admit that part. Because, see, like I told y'all, and like I've showed y'all over the years, in their home countries, these people idolize these white supremacists. They idolize them far beyond what you can imagine. See, look, let me tell y'all something. Before we let this continue, I really want to make this point stick to how bad they're gone mentally, okay? I want you to understand that when you and I were children, okay, you think about what you did coming up as a child, you know what I'm saying, the games you might have played with one another. I guarantee you, and I'm asking this question of my audience, have any foundational Black American in here, have you ever pretended to be white people? Did you ever grow up pretending and wishing that you were white? Did you grow up with families telling you how great it would be for you to marry white people? Did any foundational Black American female grow up? I'm not going to judge you. I'm just checking, because I know I didn't. Most foundational Black Americans I run across didn't. But, I asked this question live on air because maybe some of you have had this experience. Has anybody in my chat room had that experience, ladies and gentlemen? Talk to me. I want to know. My brother, Mr. Sam, says, nope. Anybody else? Sound off, sound off, sound off. I want to know, because see what I'm telling you, and it's going to make sense for a lot of the people that's like, he exaggerating. I'm going to show you something. When you travel to most of these Caribbean and African nations, I got to go here, got to tell the truth. This is why the bleaching is out of control. See, you better understand that as foundational Black American freedmen, when we say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud, we mean that. That's a spiritual thing for us. We're the only people on the planet that actually tout that the way we do. And see, if what I'm saying wasn't true, you wouldn't see the skin bleaching companies over there growing very wealthy because people hate what they look like and what they were born as. These are cancer-causing chemicals, by the way. You talking about how ridiculous the BBL is because the chance of you dying if that shit go wrong. The cancer is a slow death. So you think about it, a people that is so self-hating, for those of them that this applies to, that you willing to risk getting cancer to make yourself look like something that you're biologically nor genetically are. You want to be white so bad you're willing to risk your health to do it. Do you know how insane that is? See, this is why that damaged mindset comes over here. And see, I guarantee you, she'll never admit it, but I guarantee you, man, Candace Owens used to fantasize about being a white girl. I know she did, man. This woman is not proud of who she is or what she looks like at all. I promise you that. She ain't fooling me. Because see, when you have some of the views that she has, basically, that's a person trying to detach themselves from the reality of who they actually are. That's what that type of cooning that these cheddars do is, okay? That is born from severe self-hatred, which is a form of psychosis, if you really want to be honest about it. Yes, they have a very schizophrenic nature with who they actually are, and then they'll turn around and try to pretend like they're proud of where they're from. How, when you're trying to force yourself to speak in a Caucasian accent? How you proud of where you're from when you don't ever want to go back there? How you proud of where you're from when you are facing deportation over here and you claim you want to stay in America, but you wave in another country's flag that you say you're proud of, but you don't want to be there? Make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, she's not fooling me with any of this. And see, well, what she's talking about here with Nick Fuentes, she's talking about, how these countries drop bombs on her. Now, to be honest with you, as tragic as that is, the greater damage that are done to these nations here, and most of them are not nuclear powers, because they're not flying over any nuclear power, dropping no bombs. But the greater damage is done economically and on the political end. Oh, yes, bombs destroy physical things. But if I have control of your economy, if I have control of your politics over there from afar, where I can just sit in the office and I see something that your leader is doing, your puppet leader that I'm paying my bribe money to is doing, I ain't got to send no ambassador over there. I ain't got to set foot over there. I can make a phone call. Hey, that bullshit you got going on, I don't like that. Cut it out. Or else I'm going to cut your check off this month. When I got that kind of power, I don't need to drop a bomb on you. At that point, dropping a bomb is just me. Hey, that's just something I wanted to do in the morning to remind you, like, all right, just so you know I still got it. I know what I just said is very cruel. I know it's very demonic, but I'm telling you, this is the mindset of a white supremacist. I know. I've studied these people for decades. Like I said, I've been in the military. I understand how this works, okay? I understand how it works. So we're going to let this continue. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. What you're witnessing here, this is two reject minds of white supremacy, two tools competing and auditioning against each other to the greater white society to say, hey, see, I'm more valuable than him. I'm more valuable than her. That's exactly what you're watching here. Let it continue.
I don't think you're right. I think that there has been a very sophisticated effort to, just like you would say now, in terms of people that are intentionally attacking Anglo-Saxons. I'm just learning about that there were these books that were written we must genocide the Anglo-Saxons that were going on for a lot longer than I realized. History didn't begin with World War II, but I think it would take a lot of time to kind of unpack that.
Yeah.
Like, are we stopping people from getting ahead just because, I don't know?
That just sounds,
I want you to catch something that Candace Owens just said. Very important. It might have flew right past some of you. Did you hear when she said we? Key word. She said, I feel like we are stopping people from getting ahead. She said, I feel like we. I remember what I told you about that fucking feel word, okay? But she used we. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say. Well, GBS, she meant Americans. No, she didn't. When them tethers say we, they actually think they're in the white club. I'm telling you. Look, if you doubt this, let me tell you something, man. The tethers are so delusional about things that they actually, and a lot of people just finding this out recently, the tether class actually thought that those of us who are foundational Black American freedmen, they thought we're immigrants too. That's why they were all, they're going to get y'all next. Like, no, you idiot. This is our homeland. We didn't immigrate anywhere. We didn't have to get naturalized citizenship. When we were born here, it's not because our parents came from somewhere fucking else. This is ours. We are here. Going back 400-500 generations, we've been here, okay? And a lot of them really did think, they're going to get y'all next. Like, okay. Don't hold your breath waiting on that giblet, okay? Now, yes, you got the obtuse smart asses. Well, they could, if they wanted to, write a law and take our citizenship. They're not finna do that. No, they're not. No, they're not. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not because I think white people value us so much more than any other groups. They're not going to do that because white supremacists, see, you got to think about it. I'm going to show you how this makes sense for the people that call themselves trying to be condescending and be obtuse when you say stuff like that. They could do it. Sure, they could do it, but they won't. They won't do it because think about it. After slavery, when we didn't have any rights, they could have just shipped us all up out of here and sent us back. We weren't citizens then. You know why they didn't do that? Because the white supremacists, pay attention to what I'm saying, the white supremacists that actually understand about long-term planning, they was like, look how much money we made off these Negroes for free. I get it. We can't stand their black asses. We got to come up with some miscegenation laws to keep you from, going after our women and procreating with them. But hey, these black motherfuckers here are profitable. We need them to continue this. So we'll just set up a Jim Crow system. Okay, we'll just continue the oppression and profit off of them. Hey, we'll set up a situation here and call it integration and get them to fold their economy into ours so that they can be more dependent on us, which is where we are today, unfortunately. They're like, no, we can't get rid of these Negroes. We hate them, but we love them. That's why they're not going to get together in no 2/3 majority and say, hey, they're no longer citizens. Let's just get them out of here. But see, you think about it. See, I told you, we make people think over here. For the smart asses that have that narrative going around, they know who they are. Let me tell you something, man. If they were to do it, 2/3 majority, hey, Foundation of Black Americans no longer citizens. Let's just put them all. Do you understand that these white supremacists that have held on to power for this long, that see what our people have done, do you really think that they're going to give that productivity to another country? Not to mention, we've been here so long that we know the ins and outs of how this system operates. So it would definitely be unwise to do that from a military strategy. See, just stop and think about that when you hear these people panicking, talking about they're going to get us next. Okay. Again, you giving all that productivity and creativity to another nation. Let's just say China. Let's just go there. For some odd reason, the Chinese, Xi Jinping, got together and said, you know what? Hey, man, I get it. We're a homogenous nation, but, look at what all them Foundation of Black Americans created over there because they know what we've done, okay? They see that. They know that we lead global culture. Don't you know that these people would love to have us headquartered over there and find a way to benefit off that productivity so they can say, okay, hey, we the one in the country with all the Foundation of Black Americans. That means all that innovative genius is going to be over here in our nation. When people think about that, they're going to think about here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they would like us or respect us. I'm saying about just the opportunistic advantage that they would have. All right. Then, heaven forbid we start joining their militaries there. See, I'm just making you think about this. So when you hear the people panicking, oh my God, they're going to get us next. No, that would be very stupid of any nation to do that. Not just this one regarding our lineage, but any nation. Because see, you think about it. The white supremacists, before we get back to this, the reason why they would never do that, the Foundation of Black American Freedmen, they never give other adversaries or people that they perceive adversaries outside of this country the same advantage that they exploit. Now, what do I mean by that? The reason why, and in some ways it definitely have backfired, this is why they're trying to do it now, but the reason why they would never do what I'm saying is, you look at how the United States has an immigration process to get people to come over here from other nations and fold them into corporate America, fold them into the military, the government system. They know that when those people come over, they're going to bring information about how these adversary nations work with them in exchange for the citizenship, okay? Do you really think that this country, these white supremacists over here are going to give that same advantage to another nation by getting a 2/3 majority together and saying, well, they no longer citizens, get them out of here? Really? See, for all the smart asses that always trying to talk condescendingly, passive aggressively, you wasn't thinking about that, was you, huh? Because I know who they are and they listening too. Just let it continue.
Being honest with you, that just sounds to me like a left-wing argument when they say, why don't these countries get ahead? Colonialism, you're a colonizer. It's like, okay, but when we got there, they had no development. When we got to Africa, they had no technological development.
So you think that even if we weren't at war, and sure.
And I got to get on Nick Fuentes, see, because that's his version. That's the white supremacist curated version of Africa. First of all, if you know their history, okay, the history of the continent, Nick Fuentes, you Europeans didn't even understand a system of mathematics. You weren't really literate like that. Timbuktu was like the epicenter of learning at one point for the world. When they came over there and saw how learned their scholars were, they were flabbergasted. In order to be one of the top teachers, okay, or a professor back at that time in the University of Timbuktu, you had to be a master of no less than 10 different subjects, okay, 10 different philosophies, ideologies. Compare that to the European counterpart, was only a master of one. Then you talk about they didn't have any technological advancements. No, they were navigating the seas long before the Europeans. Dr. John Henry Clark famously said himself that, Egypt was on its 25th dynasty, man, before they even figured out what the fuck a white person was. Huh? Really? So, I mean, it's like, I get it. It's a cool story, white supremacists, that you tell yourself because, boy, when I mentioning Egypt, they would have you think Egypt is a small village in Sweden somewhere. Okay, we even the lies that they tell in the creation story in the Bible and all of that, especially when it gets to the point where they're talking about, Jesus, Mary and Joseph were white with this little white baby running around in this dark skinned nation full of people that would have stood out like a sore thumb. Oh, boy, don't get me started with that. I get it, white folks. You want to tell yourself that the Egyptians was white and make all the movies that they're having a white. But when you put this up against actual history and look at the dates and times of these things before Rome and other places the invaders conquered, it's not like it is today where those people that are in northern Africa, those people are not indigenous to that land. Those people are invaders. So when you go back to the time period before all of that, those people were black. Kemet means land of the black or darkness, okay? So it's like when you base your whole ideology off of lies, you're not going to solve any real world problems. That's cool if you know not to believe it, but they've convinced themselves that these things are true. And flying in the face of all logic, all history, all science, they don't care about that. This is why you're actually ultimately doomed to fail as a people. You're not grounded in reality. See, look, there's a reason why when you're a child and you playing make-believe as a child, sure, you can do that as a child. You're being cared for. You don't have any real world responsibility. When you grow up, you better start dealing with the real world as it is if you want to survive and be productive as a productive member of society in the real world, okay? White supremacists, y'all probably never heard anybody say this before. White supremacists, due to believing their own lies, they're stuck in a perpetual, demented, childlike state, okay? They are. They're stuck playing perpetual make-believe. Before we get back to this, I'm going to thread a needle for you, give you something else to think about regarding what I just said. If you doubt what I'm saying, why do you think they fight and lose their mind when even their fictional characters, one of them is either portrayed as a black person or they add a black person to it, like the Star Wars franchise when they added, what's the brother John Boyega in there as the character Finn? And he pulled his helmet off and they saw a black stormtrooper. They're like, oh my God. See, when you lie to yourself and you know you don't have any real honorable history, you have to hold on to fabrications because that becomes your true identity. These are a very, very pathetic people, and without their global system that they all uphold, they would have been gone a long time ago. But see, the world, this is why they're in such a frantic state over here and around the world. They see that illusion and that veil is crumbling. People no longer see them as these infallible deities. Oh, they're the end all be all because one, more people are starting to research the truth about things. More people are starting to look at, okay, wait a minute, this system of white supremacy, why are we upholding your system when it doesn't benefit us? Hence why you see the creation of BRICS, okay? Hence why you see Russia and China working together, okay? It's a lot changing on the world stage. That look, and this is what they don't understand. They better enjoy these last couple of years of the Orange Man because it's never coming back. You're not going to ever have the status on the world stage that you did once upon a time, white supremacists. That's gone. I know that hurts. You can go and build all the communities in the woods you want. You can jump up and down and do a rain dance, turn backflips. It's over. You're done. Your time is up. You squandered the opportunity that you had to actually be a prosperous people by indulging in anti-black racism, deception, and hatred. You uphold and idolize evil as heroes. Don't you think that the universe is going to correct that flaw one way or another sooner or later? You've had ample time to change. So for me, when I look at it in the totality of the things that you've done as a people and continue to do in present day, I don't have no remorse for the condition that they're in at all. My only concern is to make sure that my people have the knowledge needed to know not to let them take you with them. Let it continue.
You said you think that's a leftist argument. I would only push back on that because I've learned so much about just like recent history that I didn't know. But you think that the Middle East, like if we had done nothing in terms of the Middle East, that they would just be savages and just be like, America didn't do anything it doesn't set anything backwards, and you're just like bombing a place.
Yeah, kind of. I think that we did set them back because when they don't have political order, it prevents development and investment and things like that. But, again, when you look at the antecedents of all these, the history didn't start, like you said, with World War II in the 20th century. There's a reason that European civilization created this enormous gap between them and everybody else. And I don't think it was that it was white supremacy or it was unfair or something like that. I think it's because Europeans are smarter.
Okay. So you heard what old Nicholas J. Fuentes had to say there with old Candace Owens, Candace the Coonstress. Boy, now that y'all see, I said that they weren't trying to have no good faith conversation. They were competing for value in white supremacist society, which they're never going to be accepted in. At best, you're going to be a tool. Candace, you saw what happened when you called yourself cozying over there with Ben Shapiro. He came out and said something that he didn't like about that man's demographic, his folks, okay, the small ad community. He canned your ass. See, you thought you was in there, but they keep showing you every time. It's not just Candace. You've had countless examples of when most of y'all people think you're in there, especially when you tooting your ass up in there for a white man or you're laying up with a white woman if you're a tetherbuck. That don't get you in the end club, okay? It doesn't. Nick Fuentes, for a reason that I mentioned earlier, you too much of a damn loose cannon. You too incompetent and too immature to understand that there's nuances to things. You too stupid to understand that white supremacy is a very fragile system that requires a lot of deception. It requires definitely some people that you can convince that it's a superior system to help uphold that system, whether they foundational Black American Sambos or tether class Sambos. The system of white supremacy itself is very fragile. This is why it needs a lot of maintenance and a lot of care, and it needs a lot of illusion to be put into it in order for it to be sustained, okay? Because see, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to give you something that's very terrifying. I want you to take a good look at this white snake on this screen, okay? When you are as small of a percentage on the global stage as 7% and declining, which is where they are right now, okay? When you're that small a percentage, think about it if the whole world woke up one day and said, what in the hell were we doing allowing these people and these smaller numbers to come colonize anything we have? What happens if the greater majority of them no longer idolize trying to fit into your global system and say, hey, nope, for all the shit that you did, you're going to pay recompense for this one way or another? Do you know how terrifying that is for them? See, what I just said right now, a lot of us as Black people, the average Black person, you probably never thought about that. That's what they're thinking about right now as we speak. Some of them are going to hate this broadcast. Oh, yes, that's right. I know exactly what you really think. I'm not the type that's going to argue with you white supremacists. I'll clown you here or there. But I'm looking at what you're panicking is going on here. Not just those of you who are white supremacist trolls. I'm looking at what your scientists and your scholars and doctors, their concerns, your academics, their concerns, they're terrified. And if they're terrified, you know you are, which is where it comes down to you trolling to cope with it. Hey, man. This is why they don't like my platform. I give it to you in a way where it makes sense for my family to think about how they're operating. And like I said, they're desperate, okay? And what you do when your enemy is in a state of desperation, you take notes. That's what you do. It's not your job to argue with them or anything. No. You silently take notes and use that information to your advantage, okay? And we're not done with that yet. We're going to continue analyzing some things here, family, because I want y'all to check this out.
Do you attend the Mass?
I do.
Do you go every Sunday?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so you're like a committed Catholic. Then obviously, the perspectives on family. I mean, I personally, and this would be me lecturing, but I just feel like you really have no idea who you are until you start a family. And whether
Oh, this is about to get good, family, because see, this is the portion of that interview where she's going at him about family values and starting a family. Now, if you pay attention to Nick Fuentes' body language, look at his face. He's like, you little black bitch. You know that's what he got in his mind. He's like, you motherfucker. This is an incel now that she's talking to, okay? Now, because she's a tether wench that's married to a white man, in her mind, this is what you got to understand. Candace Owens doesn't see herself as a dark-skinned Caribbean woman. In Candace Owens' mind, she's actually a little white woman. That's what she thinks. She'll never come out and say it like that. But this is the way she's engaging Nick Fuentes, as if she's a white woman talking to a white man. That's what she thinks, okay? You don't have to believe me. Just go and look at the statement she made, similar to like I told you earlier in this broadcast when I told you to focus in on when she said we. Oh, no, she wasn't meaning we as in Americans. She meant we as in, hey, us white people. Similar to how Myron Gaines got caught in that interview where he was up there with all them white supremacists talking about we white guys, like us white guys. See, y'all, boy, some of y'all be thinking that we just be making shit up when we be going in on each other. Don't know. These people are mentally diseased. They are colonized to the point of no return. But a lot of people that are naive enough to think that you're going to call them brothers and sisters and reform them, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because when they get to this point, a Candace Owens or a Myron Gaines, you ain't finna reform that no kind of way. There's only one way out for them. They're going to perish like that, oftentimes by way of their own stupidity. But see, watch how irate Nick Fuentes is about to get here, because she doesn't realize it yet, but she just hit on something that's a very sensitive spot for this little incel over here. Let's let it continue.
that means just marriage, some people who are struggling to have children, okay, fine. But there's such a growth that happens because of that I think it informs your beliefs in so many ways. And I think that was a huge turning point for me. Like, I wonder if I had been pressed with everything that happened last year, if I didn't have like the unshaken faith and my family, what would I have done? And sometimes when I see the things that you say, I do think, okay, he doesn't take into account family. Like, it's just Nick. Nick is in his own world, which can be, I think, a quite selfish perspective, which is fine. That's what you're saying. You like being selfish is another way to say what you just said. I like being selfish and I don't want to give of myself to somebody else. But
Well,
do you,
I also think there's something selfless involved, which is to say, I could go and start a family and drag them into a world of mine, which is pretty chaotic. You know, I mean, is this really the kind of a lifestyle? If I'm banned on everything and I can't make a living, I'm banned from banking, I'm banned from credit card processing, I'm getting doxxed, people are showing up to my house trying to kill me, things like that. And what's more, I mean, let's also get, you know, I also don't appreciate the lecture. You don't know me, you know, so I know you're married, I know you're older than me, but you don't know me, you don't know my life, you don't know my situation. I don't think you're in a position to give me advice, especially as a woman, honestly. I don't
Woo! Uh-oh. See, I'm going to tell you why I find this priceless here. When you get the white supremacists to a point, and kudos to Candace for doing that, because I caught all that little passive-aggressive slick shit that she was doing. She was doing that on purpose to get him rattled, because she's good at doing that. But, you know, she got him to take the kid gloves off. And now the real Nick Fuentes is coming out. He's like, hey, you're not in a position to judge me, especially as a woman. Oh, boy, he finna let her have it, y'all. Now, during this discourse, I want you to pay attention to the look on Candace Owens' face while he's talking to her.
think women, you know, this is something in the right wing. We say we're anti-feminist, and then women go around telling men what to do who are not their husbands. And, you know, I don't really buy into that ideologically, but that's besides the point. You know, my life has been
So now, did you see that little exchange they had there? Oh boy, that little dust up that they had. Man, and look, I'm aware that they continue their little beef. They going back and forth with each other. It's gotten to the point now that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens have kind of teamed up to kind of get at Nick Fuentes. Then Nick Fuentes was like, oh, you want to play that game? Nick went and put some information out there about Tucker Carlson's father, which really wasn't new, by the way, because Tucker must have forgot that he told us all his father was a former CIA operative. But Nick Fuentes was like, nah, let me remind you who you're dealing with. So see, it's getting very interesting, okay? Now I'm going to tell you something. Why am I so giddy about what I'm telling y'all? Why am I presenting this to you? Because I want you to understand something. When our adversaries as foundational Black American freedmen are focused on infighting with each other, where that exists, there is opportunity, okay? There's opportunity for us to refine our measures, get on code without being sabotaged and interference, because this is only going to grow. That's just a microcosm of what's going on. Let me point it out to you for those that don't really get what I'm saying, okay? I want everybody to understand these words over here tonight. With them focusing on these deportations, and those of us that's got sense enough not to be out there trying to protest and save these people, that takes their focus off of us. When they're talking about these issues like this amongst themselves and we not involved, that takes their focus off of us. Of course, we're always going to be on the back burner of their minds, but their attention is divided to the point where we can say, okay, yeah, y'all carry on over there and talk about yourselves, talk amongst yourselves, and we're going to do what we need to do over here. That way, when that time period is up and they come back and say, okay, let's pick up where we left off. Now the board has changed. You understand? If we do what we're supposed to do, we will have tightened up our economic situation. We have tightened up our political maturity as far as how we operate in exchange for tangible policies. We will have tightened up, okay, how we go about preventing people from coming into the juke joint like Remick, okay? See, there's several different advantages that we have when our adversaries are fighting amongst one another, okay? When your adversaries are engaged and embroiled in conflict, do not interfere. Do not interfere. You understand me? So, see, I wanted to present that portion of that to y'all, but see, we're not done yet. Got something else I want y'all to check out here. Let's let it continue.
Her totally unimpressive. I watch her shows. It's totally unimpressive.
For those that don't know, let me go ahead and tell you. This is the aftermath of the Candace Owens interview, okay? And Southern Breeze says, is she pregnant? I don't know, brother. I don't know if she's pregnant or not. You know what I'm saying? Not even the focus here tonight. I don't care if she's pregnant. The aftermath here, you know what I'm saying, is going to be Nick Fuentes talking about his encounter with Candace Owens. Now, I want you to hear how he responds to this because, see, you know, I'm pretty sure that she probably had security there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if that studio was in her home or not. So he couldn't really cut loose like he wanted to because you better understand something about Nick Fuentes. That white supremacist crowd, they hate the shit out of women. You hear me? I'm talking about they hate them because these were the little weenies that were passed over in high school. None of their own women found them attractive. Or if they were with the white women, they got left, you know what I'm saying, found out their girlfriend cheated on with a black guy. That's usually where a lot of this comes from. They really don't want to admit that. But they're not fooling me. I've seen it, okay? Many of us know that's where a lot of this, the epicenter of their anti-black racism comes from as far as the white male community, especially if it's the chicks that they found very attractive. Why are you over there with Darnell? Oh, my God, she's tainted now. You're a mud shark. You know what I'm saying? They get to whining and crying, okay? So you about to see the aftermath of this and see for you tethers that might be listening, I want you to see how he really feels about her. He doesn't care that she has a white husband. See, let me go here before I let him talk here. When you go and marry a white person and you think that as a tether because you married to that white person that they're going to respect you because of that, they look at those white people like, okay, now you know this is some off-code bullshit you doing. Sure, we're white. We can do what we want to do, but we can't really trust you like that if you're going to be rolling around over here with this little tether winch. Or this tether bug, because you know how they are about their white women laying up with black men. Whether they're Caribbean country, African Foundation of Black America, they don't care. They're like, oh no, you're a mud shark. You tainted, according to them. Now with the white male, okay, he's supposed to be allowed to lay up with whoever he wants. But the other white men look at him like, yeah, buddy, you can't really bring you to certain places because you kind of compromise. Like, look, we all got our little fetish, but you went and married it. And I said it for a reason because they don't look at them as people. And when they're around themselves, y'all know I've shown you this over the years. They refer to them as an it. You married it? See, look, let me tell y'all something before I let them talk. A lot of black folks, man, if they really heard how these white supremacists were talking about black folks as a whole, no matter where we're from, when it's just them, a lot of them will be hurt to tears. the ones that don't have a proper education on it, like we do over here on this platform and in these spaces, like especially a lot of tilters. Oh boy, it will break their spirits. You know who I find over the years that it hits the hardest to? It's the white Hispanics like Nick Fuentes that were almost white. When they actually hear what actual Europeans, 2 European parents talk about when there's none of them other groups around, oh boy, you talk about being upset, it hurts their little spirits, boy. They're like, oh my God. No, guys, I almost look like you. Oh, they be traumatized, boy. Oh, and I have no remorse for them. But see, we're going to get into the aftermath of his little exchange with Candace here. I want y'all to watch how frustrated and angry little Fruity Fuentes is. Oh, boy. I'm telling you, boy, when I heard this shit, I was like, yeah, boy. Candace, you better be careful, man. You better watch it. Fruity Fuentes is angry. I want y'all to check this out.
And she's cute. She's good looking. She's put together, as women are. Women are good at being Barbie dolls, And they all want to be Oprah. Brett Cooper, Candace Owens, they all just want to be Oprah. They don't care about this shit. That's all nonsense. They don't care about this stuff. They all want to do a talk show. So she want to do Barbara Walters, tough interview. Okay. Well, you got what you wanted. So anyway, so that was our collaboration. That was my thoughts on it. The response from almost everybody said the same thing. They said she was emotional. She was triggered about race. She was being almost deliberately obtuse, that it was tedious getting into the screenshots, the drama. And above all else, put some respect on my name. And I hit the nail.
Oh, the irony of these white supremacists. Listen to them trying to use our lingo. Put some respect on my name. Nick, if you're going to say that, I got a request. Can you put some bass in your voice? Can you do that? Put some respect on my name. Damn, man. I mean, Nick Fuentes' voice, man, I've never heard him speak with the voice that he should have for a grown man, okay? There's no bass in his voice whatsoever. But, never mind this. That can't be the reason why he's not popular with women. Oh, no. It's all the blacks' fault, right? But see, the funny thing about this is he's talking about, oh, she was triggered. She was emotional. Oh, she was doing this, doing that. Now, they can't handle that when somebody like Candace gives them a dose of their own medicine because she's black and a woman. Oh, man. Even if she doesn't think she is one, they see her as a melanated person. How dare you talk to me, a white man, okay, a half white man, in this manner about things of this nature? Oh, boy, that just irks his ass. He can't stand it, okay? So now, I want you to listen to the rest of this little tirade here because, boy, she set him off, boy. He got back over there in his little platform, boy. He let her have a couple of choice words. Watch this.
On my head at the end, I kind of went off and I said, look, I was 17. What's your excuse? You got married later than me. You got red-pilled later than me. You became a truth teller later than me, and you haven't gone through a fraction of what I've gone through. And she wants to call me out. That's what she texted me. She goes, I'm calling you out. And my response to that is, bitch, you have no right to call me out. And maybe
y'all. Oh my God, y'all, did you hear? Hold on, we gotta run that back. Wait a minute. But it said, bitch, bitch. Nick, before I run this back, hold on, we taking that back. Nick, boy, you said that with so much emphasis, man. I saw a fairy dust sprinkle out of your ass, boy. Oh, it was like, bitch. Oh, shit. Candace, why you doing it like that, Candace? Oh, he is furious at you. Man, Nick, if he would have did that any harder, he would have sprouted some little fairy wings out of his back. Boy, hey, we finna run this back. I want y'all to hear this. Bitch! Here it comes, man. We finna play it back.
Head at the end, I kind of went off and I said, look, I was 17. What's your excuse? You know, you got married later than me. You got red-pilled later than me. You became a truth teller later than me, and you haven't gone through a fraction of what I've gone through. And she wants to call me out. That's what she texted me. She goes, "I'm calling you out." And my response to that is, bitch, you have no right to call me out. And maybe it's
oh no. Oh God. Man, oh Lord have mercy. The emphasis that he put on that, man. Bitch. And you wonder why you wonder why the other white supremacist males don't take you seriously. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh, y'all got to excuse me. That's hilarious to me. I have literal tears in my eyes over here laughing. Listen, man, let me tell you something. Women can get you upset as a man, okay? But when you get all emotional like that and you start responding and with all that feminine sass, bitch, no, bruh. No, that's not what men do. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't even call women bitches like that and still not to their face. Now, y'all heard me say that over here on commentary, but I'm not finna argue with no woman like that and get upset to that point because I done told y'all, if they drag you down to the realm of emotionalism, you're gonna lose that as a man. And if you do crash out and put your hands on them, I mean, especially if you black in America, you're gonna pay for that. Now, Nick, he got a little bit more leeway because of that white skin he is or what have you, but you know, if he put his hands on a white woman, oh, it's game over. Now, in this case, Candace has him so upset. Hey, exactly, Project Leroy, boy, he put that emphasis on, bitch. Hey, he might be starting a mixtape we don't know nothing about, okay? Yeah, can you imagine? Nick Fuentes come out with a hip-hop incel mixtape. Oh, my God, boy. Y'all might have to give me some names of what we going to call this mixtape or what he going to call it if he come out with one. But see, you know, he's so upset that Candace called herself texting him. And see, we got to look at why he's upset like that. In Candace's mind, remember I told you, she thinks she's actually a little white woman now, or an honorary white woman. She really does. So she thinks that she has the right to talk to another white male and be received the same way as a white woman would. But what she doesn't understand is they don't put up with shit from their own women, let alone you a wannabe outsider. Just because you got that white husband, see that she really do think that that's some type of protection or cover. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to make this prediction. Mark my words that when that white husband get tired of her, man, they're not going to be married 20, 30 years, bro. Nah. In fact, the Benz, I'm going to tell you right now, I give that maybe 2 or 3 more years before he say, you know what, this shit has been real. Let me get back over here to the white women that I really want. He going to trade her in for a younger model because you know Zaddy can hook it up with, hey, if he divorces his black wife, she ain't going to get all that shit like the white women would get. Oh, no, not going to happen. Okay? Watch. 2, 3 more years, man. I'll be surprised if it make it 2, 3 more years. That's my prediction on that. If it happened before then, you'll be like, damn it, GBS, you called that shit. Because they all usually get tired and go back. And look, let's just keep it a buck. Usually, when white men are married to them women like that, the tether wenches, man, they always cheating on with white women anyway. She ain't going to come out and tell you about that. But I guarantee you, she probably done found some stuff. You're like, damn, he's still sleeping with white women. Yeah, he is. Yeah, you were just something to do. You were just something to do. You was a placeholder. That's what you are. Okay? But see, back to Fruity Fuentes here, boy. That fairy does hopped out his ass. You can damn near see a little fairy wing sprouting out the back of him. Because see, when you piss an incel off by talking to him about this personal situation, they can't handle that, man. I don't care whether they black, white, whatever. They can't handle it. They lose their goddamn mind. Okay? But see, he's going to find a way to blame this on black people, huh? It's the blacks' fault that you don't have your masculinity in order to the point that you up here, bitch. Damn it, Fuentes. I thought you didn't listen to hip hop, man. What's going on now? You know, maybe he got that from Kanye. You think that's what's happening? And then again, you know, with Kanye admitting the things that he like to put in his mouth, and I don't know what kind of relationship him and Nick might have. I'm just saying, you know, they seem to be buddies, but I want y'all to hear the rest of this, man. Boy, you can't make this shit up, boy. That shit was funny to me, y'all. Let it continue.
time for you as a woman to sit down and shut the fuck up. That's me, a man. You want to say, make me a sandwich? Okay. This is me, a man, telling you, a woman, to sit down and shut the fuck up.
Woo! Boy, he brought out the old school classics. Boy, he got that little old tiny Play-Doh finger of his.
This is me telling you to go make a sandwich and sit down and shut the fuck up. That's right, it's the snake. Sister Kenny T put in the chat room Too Short. Young lady, what do you know about Too Short from the 80s? You're too young to know anything about that. But see, Fruity Fuentes is upset. He wants her to sit down and shut up. Go make a sandwich. Oh, he's perturbed. See, you gotta understand his frustrations. If he's not getting any, okay? He's probably using Kleenex and blow-up dolls and things of that nature. It's just not hitting the same way as some of that rancid alabaster snatch would hit. He's tired of it. He's been starved and deprived for so long. Probably can't even go buy any. And you think he's gonna let this little Caribbean biatch tell him about his white masculinity? Hell no.
Oh, shit. Oh, see, look, let me tell y'all something, man. Over the years, a lot of you white supremacists, I bet you won't debate me. I'm like, brother, you don't want to debate me. You don't want to debate me. Because, see, white supremacists, if I debate you, I'm going to tell you a flaw about me, and this is why I don't debate them, okay? After I debunk you and make you look stupid from a, intellectual standpoint, surprise y'all, I wouldn't even curse at them. I wouldn't use any ad hominems or anything. After I finish debunking you, then I'm going to clown you to the point you're going to be mad. And y'all see how silly I can be, okay? Hey, once I'm done with you, I'm like, okay, we've gotten all we need from you. Used you, you know what I'm saying, like an empty juice box, throw you away. Now it's time to clown your ass. You're going to be wanting to fight, and you damn sure ain't going to win that, okay? That's when, and buddy, I'll whip your ass. I'm like, oh, hey, calm down, Giblet. You don't want to do that now. Hey, you don't want to tote no ass whooping on top of intellectual embarrassment. Okay, so that's why I don't debate them. Because, see, once you do debunk all of their talking points because they think you don't understand history and how it correlates to present day, once they see that you do, they get frustrated and want to resort to violence, which is what white supremacists do, okay? If they can't trick you or deceive you or outsmart you, then they want to resort to violence, okay? So, hey, I just stay over here in my lane and be peaceful, okay? But see, Nick, Fruity Fuentes here, boy, he getting Candace told. Candace, baby, you better be careful. You better be careful, boy, because you look at that little brow ridge of his up there, boy. Look at him, man, with his little goofy-ass haircut. This boy is hot. Oh, he is sassy and angry. You hear me? The only thing missing from his little punk ass right now, and Nick, this is what you should have did. It would have hit better. You should have went and put you some lipstick on, bro. Because we know what you are, bro. Ain't no male on the planet this angry at women. See, look, I can have discourse with sisters all the time and we disagree on things. I ain't going to get upset like that because, one, I love women, okay? I love them. Don't have no problem getting them, dealing with them, you know what I'm saying? We can have intellectual discourse to a certain point, but here's the thing. As a man, I know that if it gets to a certain point where you got to start getting upset and getting emotional, man, just okay, hey, agree to disagree, lead the conversation along. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? But see, he's incapable of that, and this is why, all jokes aside, these types of jokers here, I don't care whether they're white, black, whatever, they are very, very dangerous. If you're a woman and you dealing with a man that's got this type of disposition, you do that shit at your own risk, man, because they'll end up turning on you. Especially for those of you bedwenches that are in these interracial relationships, you better understand that Zaddy, he get upset, he killed the kids, the pets, you and himself, okay? Let it continue.
Before you call out anybody else, sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch.
Oh, he hit it one more time, bitch. Oh my God, Nick. Nick, see. Little Nickelodeon, okay? That's what I'm gonna start calling Little Nickelodeon. He don't like me, by the way, on X. I embarrassed him years ago, but I don't think he ever gotten over that. I think he did block me. I can't remember if he did or not because I embarrassed him years ago, okay? Nickelodeon over here, what he don't understand is today calling women bitches, that don't really hit like you think it do. They call each other bitches, okay? We talking about all races of them. That bitch thing don't really hit. See, look, there used to be a time in society where if you hit a one with that bitch term, it really did have a sting to it. Today, the culture has evolved. Today, the women, if you hit them with the bitch term, they laughing at you because they're like, oh, I got this little motherfucker upset. Oh, you know what I'm saying? You already know sisters that have a smart mouth, especially from my lineage. That, you know, Candace is not from my lineage. But man, that bitch term, bro, it ain't hitting the way you think. Okay, but see, that's all he has because he's angry. He's an angry little white male, y'all. See, so now I got to do something here. You're going to be like, GBS, you silly for this. But see, you know, I am not a heartless man, okay? I'm not a heartless shark. So I need to ask a question, ladies, of the sisters in the chat room. I don't care whether you FBA or non-FBA, because I know we got a mix of y'all over here. Can your brother ask you for a favor? Y'all already know this is going to be some silly shit, okay? But I got to ask, because see, maybe some of y'all, you know, is there any sister of foundational Black American freedom lineage or non-FBA lineage that would kind of, you know, have some pity on little Fruity Fuentes and maybe, you know, reach out to him and offer to take him on a date or something? You know, is it any of y'all that would consider giving him some companionship to help this little angry alabaster taco man calm himself down before he blows the gasket? Okay, are there any takers in my chat room, sisters? Are there any of you that can find it in your kind hearts to possibly, you know, get with Fruity Fuentes? Because see, listen, maybe some of y'all could get with him, you know, get him to get a haircut, you know, maybe upgrade his fashion game, you know, kind of pull him to the side and like, look, you got to put a little bass in your voice when you talk. Actually get him to take a bath or two. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, I know this is a lot of work, but there might be some honorable bedwenches over here that would be like, you know what? The sister studs there said, no, thank the Lord I'm married. Damn, see? Ain't none of y'all Tanisha Murdoch. Hell no. Sisters, wait a minute. What happened to all these kind-hearted sisters over here? Ain't none of y'all gonna get him a fixer-upper? Ain't nothing you can do with him? You know, because, you know, sometimes maybe it's just me. You know, hey, my brother Derek Parker said on fun. Look, I'm just trying to help him. Because, see, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm clowning this little sassy bastard. But, you know, there is a part of me that when I look at these frustrated males like this, I'm like, God damn, bro. Like, you angry at all women? It ain't now you like? You ain't never had a win with none that you want? I mean, Nick, you could travel out the country. And see, look, let me just give him this last bit of advice, because I guess ain't none of the sisters going to help you out. Nick, I'm going to do you this one courtesy, little Nickelodeon. You already half white, half Hispanic. So to white supremacists, you tainted. You may as well just do what most of the white guys do and go get you an Asian woman. They love to worship the white supremacist dirty draws. I hate to say that. I'm going to probably get some texts and calls or some half Black Asian sisters that I know. So I'm not talking about y'all, baby. Y'all are cool. We're talking about your fairer skinned Asian folks that try to blend into white supremacist culture. They love them some zaddy, boy. Just ask Asian men. I don't care whether they Chinese, Japanese, Korean, or whatever, boy. Them Asian women love them some white men. Yes, they do. Oh, they love them. Look, fact of reference, and if you travel, this is something you'll see. They're the least race loyal of all women, okay? Them Asian women like, fuck that. Now, they will give the tether wenches around for their money. You know what I'm saying? Whether they Caribbean or continental African, boy, them Asian women, boy, y'all got some competition. They're like, white man? Oh, bitch, whoever get to it first. I'll just let you know. So Nick, man, Nickelodeon, you know, don't be angry at Candace. That's just what she does, okay, man? Just calm down, take your little trip to Asia, go get you a little Asian woman, and, you know, settle down and be happy, because you a half-breed to the white supremacists anyway. You never gonna fit in, so you may as well just go and live your life, bro. No, don't be that upset, man, at Candace, man. That's just what she does. Let's let it continue.
I'm so sick of it. She's got her book, Make Me a Sandwich. That's the book cover. Her book cover is her sitting cross-legged. I'm gonna sit. Her book is her sitting cross-legged. Make him a sandwich. Okay. You want that, huh? All right. Well, hey, listen. Daddy's home. Hey, a real man is home. I'm pulling up my sleeves. You want to call me out? Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch.
Woo! Oh, hold it. Wait a minute, Nickelodeon. Family. Okay, now, because see, I'm a bit biased, so this is where the audience participation comes in at yet again. Now, ladies, he said that a real man is doing some talking. Okay, that's what Nickelodeon says. Is this the criteria for a real man? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got to ask the women. You know what I'm saying? Because see, us brothers, we're a bit biased because we laughing at this jackass, but I need to know, ladies, is this criteria for a real man? This goofy motherfucker jumped up in his chair to do the so-called pose that he says Candace Owens did on her book. Now, I don't know which book you're talking about. I didn't even know Candace wrote a book, okay? I might have to go check it out just to see what pose he's talking about on the cover. But this goofy ass jumped up and did the pose that he said Candace did. It's like, you can tell he really don't even have any real white male friends because I could imagine that they check each other on doing goofy shit. And see, this is why he's really angry. He's an outcast amongst his own men in his community because as men, period, even if you're another race listening to this, you don't agree with me, I don't care. But I could assume you would agree with this. Most of us, no matter what race of men we are, we have, like, hey, bro, come on, that's some goofy shit. Come on, don't do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he has that. Boy, I got to do it again, y'all. I'm sorry. I got to do it one more time. I got to let him tell us what he really feels over here one more time. Because, see, boys, to me, I don't ever take them serious beyond just their actual thought process to study it so that we know what to do to counter them. But as far as this little bullshit they got going on, look at this goofy motherfucker. Could you ever imagine a time when this bastard was in school where he was the lady's choice, okay, amongst white women? Look at him, man. Goofy to be damned. Oh, my God. I got to hear him one more time. Boy, bitch. I got to play it again.
Her book is her sitting cross-legged, make him a sandwich. Okay. You want that, huh? All right. Well, hey, listen, Daddy's home. Hey, a real man is home. I'm pulling up my sleeves. You want to call me out? Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. That's what a man has to say. And make me a sandwich and make it good. Turkey and provolone. Can you handle that? But I did eat last night. Turkey and provolone. That's how I feel. And honestly, that's how I feel about it. Yeah. Make him a sandwich. And then she texts me on Friday. I'm calling you out. I've had enough of you calling me out. You cannot call me out. 1, you are a woman. 2, you have not gone through a fraction of what I have gone through. You know nothing. I have been on this since 2017, since I was 18 years old. You want to call me out? And that's, honestly, that's the epitome of it all. Before you call out anybody, how about a shred of humility? How about an ounce of self-awareness? Why don't you observe the fact that while you had a contract at Daily Wire, Turning Point USA, InfoWars, book deals, and by the way, because you're...
Hold it. Wait a minute. Just when you thought he was done, did y'all see them little hand gestures he made? Holy shit. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. No. Hold on. Wait. Time out. For you younger listeners that might come across this broadcast, I'm going to have to give you a point of reference because, when us old heads get to talking about stuff that was before your time, you're like, why did they do this when we don't know what they're talking about? Okay. There's a show, and my Gen Xers, y'all going to remember this. Y'all remember in Living Color? Remember Damon Wayans and David Allen Greer's character?
Hated it. Hated it. 2 snaps in a circle. Hated it.
Did you see them hand gestures? Hold on, dog. Because, y'all, they tell me that I exaggerate, right? No. We playing this back, y'all. Maybe, You know, y'all tell me, am I exaggerating? Them hands, he did the shit in a circle. Nikki, Nickelodeon, what are we doing? Oh my God. And like Mrs. L said, where is her white husband to defend her? And see, that goes to show you that, watch this, because that's a good question that sister brought up. The reason why her white husband isn't defending her, because regardless of Nick being half white, he's still considered a white man. And even they won't even defend their black wives against their fellow white supremacists. So that's a lesson for you tether wenches out there. But damn it, we finna run this back. Because Buddy hit the damn circular hand gestures. Rudy Fuentes, boy. Hey, man, look, it's 2025. You ain't never really been photographed with no women in no intimate situation. I ain't even seen no women giving him no hug. Now, if y'all correct me on that, y'all seen it. I haven't. You ain't never been seen taking no trips with no woman. Look, it's 2025, player. Just go ahead and come on out. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, I get it that you hate, you know what I'm saying, black people and all of that, but I'm going to give you the best advice anybody going to give you here. You need to contact Billy Porter, okay? Billy Porter get you organized so you can have a coming out party in style. You know what I'm saying? He can pitch you out a good purse, a good shade of lipstick, put you some heels on, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, get the right perfume. You can bust on out your little alabaster closet in style. Because, boy, you ain't fooling me. I ain't never. Hold on. Before I play this right here, because, boy, they tell me, GPS, you be exaggerating. Nah, bruh. Fellas, have any of you ever used these circular hand gestures I'm about to play here when you were in conversation with somebody? Sure, we talk with our hands and use our hands to express certain things, but I ain't never, ever hit the 2 snaps in a circle, hated it. Young people, just Google or YouTube in living color, 2 snaps up or Damon Wayans, okay, David Allen Greer. You know, what was they call it? Men on film. Yeah, that was it. Oh my God. If I'd have known that he was gonna do this shit, I would have had that queued up, boy. I'm gonna play this back. Watch this motherfucker's hands, bro. Watch them.
Epitome of it all. Before you call out anybody, how about a shred of humility? How about an ounce of self-awareness? Why don't you observe the fact that while you had a contract at Daily Wire, Turning Point USA, InfoWars, book deals, and by the way, because you're a black woman, because you are a semi-articulate black woman, you're like Obama. She don't talk with that Negro dialect. She was a black woman who did the conservative grift, and she rode that tokenism doing fucking Blexit for 10 years, making millions of dollars, and then married into a wealthy family, and then discovered there's something going on with Israel after only everybody started to notice. Now you want to call me out, the OG?
Oh, Nickelodeon, you ain't fooling me, player. Oh, no, Nickelodeon. See, the real issue that you have with Candace the Coonstress, it's not any of that other stuff you said about politics or none of that. You don't care about the Daily Wire situation. You said, this is what really irks him, okay? He said that you're married into a rich family. So you really want to be a little black woman that's married to a rich white man. Is that what we infer from this, Nikki? Because see, Nickelodeon, I saw them hand gestures. Y'all saw that. I played that back so you could see it and witness it with me. The brother Project Leroy says, GBS Nick is driving a Cadillac with that hand. Yeah, he damn sure ain't. Yeah, he driving something, all right. I think we know he drives stick. Oh yeah, he ain't driving automatic transmission. Not with them hand gestures. Nikki, that's what it is. You just admit, look, maybe instead of being angry, okay, Nick, you can take the advice that I gave you about Billy Porter, call Candace back and be like, look, Candace, I really want a white van, okay? You secure the rich one. Can you give me the game? Maybe Candace would do that. Candace, baby, if you hear me, Candace, now you know me and you don't sell horses, okay? We ain't never got along, okay? But Candace, give Nick the game, all right? We both see what his disposition is, okay? Yeah, come on, man. Let him be happy. Show him how to get what you got, okay? You pulled your rich white man. That's what he wants, apparently. He's jealous of your situation. That's really where all this anger is coming from, okay? He wants him a wealthy white man. You hear him complaining about all this because, I mean, you know, he's not interested in women. Ain't no way in the hell you gonna tip. No, bro, look, even some of the most hardcore white supremacists are gonna make time to be like, okay, look, I'll get back to this anti-black racism, but let me go over and get me some of this, you know, good old lice-loaded alabastrous loving, okay? You know, I'm just saying, they're gonna make time to go and be with their women now. You ain't never with none? And then here's the thing, right? If you say, well, GBS, maybe he's private, maybe because of all the stuff going on, he don't want to talk about his women. Okay, I got you. Some women gonna talk about you though, Nick. Why ain't no women ever talking about you in a favorable light? Even if they're not giving no intimate details or putting it out there about y'all been together, it ain't no women talking about you like they cool with you, bro. So I know that you really want you a wealthy white man. You ain't fooling me, man. You know, anyway, we gonna let him wrap this up, man, boy. What is that? Nickelodeon, boy.
Well, that was your first mistake.
Oh my God, family. I'm gonna tell you that ending point caught me off guard because like I don't remember him doing the little circular hand motion. I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, bro. What are you doing? Oh, little alabaster insult. Anyway, family. All the fun we had at the end part of this broadcast tonight, I hope you all take lessons from the serious intonations at the beginning of it because, like I said, we can clown these white supremacists, but you got to remember, regardless of how ridiculous they make themselves look, when the tether class and the white supremacists adjacent come into contact, that's always an opportunity to study their reject mindsets and learn from it so that we can also be aware of it when we encounter it and teach foundational Black American youth and on code non-FBA youth what to look out for, okay? So, you know, I hope everybody was able to get the lesson from it. Boy, I don't care what nobody's saying. Until I see him pop up with a woman, I still ain't gonna believe it. That'll probably be his beard. Fruity Fuentes, yeah, she brought it out of you, brother. Candace, go ahead and let that man know how he can get him a wealthy white man so he won't be out here crashing out. Anyway, salute to everybody that contributed to the broadcast. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? We're going to have more content coming up here on definitely Patreon. If you're not subscribed, you'll see that in the ending of the broadcast. You can find a link to it in the description, also the channel description, what have you. We got a lot of good content over there because we're going to get into a broadcast that's going to be talking. I've been meaning to do this broadcast for a while. Next broadcast we got coming up is going to be explaining exactly what a sexually active incel is and where that mindset comes from. We're going to get deep on that one. For those of you that are over there, that broadcast is going to shock you. You probably ain't never heard nothing like this in your life. A lot is going to make sense when we break that broadcast down, okay? So with that being said, I want y'all to take care of yourselves. Remember, we're a great and mighty people as foundational Black American freemen when we're on code and when we're focused. Salute to you, Black first, and I will see you all in future content.